What is up, Buffalo Fanatics? Z-Bot, Rico. It's Rico and Bot on the Buffalo Fanatics YouTube channel on a Friday night. Coming to the end of June, July right around the corner, and that means Buffalo Bills training camp's right around the corner. Just over a month away from it. The schedule was announced tonight. We'll talk about who we're looking to stand out the most during training camp in order to feel the best about the Bills going into 2025. We'll revisit minicamp, talk about who stood out there. We'll give you a team we think could surprise the league this upcoming season. We'll also talk about why the Madden ratings team needs to be investigated by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We'll talk about all that and much more here on Rico and Bot. So good to have you in, and Rico, so good to be with you, brother. How you feeling on a Friday night?
So good to be back. I feel like it's been a while since we hooked up and talked Bills football, but not just necessarily Bills football, but NFL football altogether. We all know this is that period in time where it's slow. So folks are going to be like, oh, it must be another slow day. And yes, it is. As a matter of fact, it is. So deal with it. We're going to get through this together. And then in no time, the season's going to be underway. Training camp's going to be underway. Then we're going to be into our first game on the preseason. All of a sudden, we're going to be week one. And all of a sudden, we're going to be Thursday Night Football live. It's just going to go so quickly. So, folks, bear with us. Let's do it. Bot, I gotta ask you, how's my connection looking? Because it's telling me I'm spotty. Am I good so far?
Connection's good. How's mine? Because it was telling me the same.
We're good, brother. We're good.
All right, good. Could be a StreamYard
We're
problem.
all aboard. That's the way I look at it. We're all aboard.
You know, you were alluding to it though. This is bar none in terms of sports the worst time of the year. The Stanley Cup just ended. You'll have the NBA Finals ending on Sunday. And it's well established at this point that I am not a baseball guy. So from now until August 8th, when the Bills have their first preseason game, it is nothing but baseball. There's nothing to fill that void in terms of sports. Hopefully Game 7 Sunday night between the Pacers and the Thunder is good. But that's the last real thing to cling on to here until football starts. And I'm not a massive NBA or NHL guy, but I do enjoy watching the playoffs and I tune in frequently to it. This patch of time right here, Rico, about a 2-month period is the dog days of American sports, especially if you're not a baseball guy.
Ruto, I'll tell you this. We'll talk a little bit of hockey and we'll talk a little bit of NBA. Let's go to hockey. Edmonton Oilers, y'all make me sick.
I'm bummed.
You let the Panthers and Brad Marchand come in and handle business and making them 2-time back-to-back champs. You guys had it. You let this team beat 2 Canadian teams back-to-back to take the chip. If Toronto couldn't get it done, fine. They choke always. Edmonton with the best player in the league, that some say, Connor McDavid's that dude, and you lose again? Fam, no, Edmonton, you guys may be sick. Get it together. NBA. This is the first Game 7 NBA Finals since 2016.
Yeah.
This was the Cavs Golden State. So we're headed for a good one. Who do you have in this one? I mean, quickly, who are you following? Are you invested? Are you in it?
Yeah, I'm tuned in. It's interesting because the NBA is so hard to gauge. One night or 2 games in a row, rather, you'll get a team just destroying the other team. Then you'll have what happened last night where it's the opposite, and all of a sudden Indiana looks like they can't be stopped. I think Game 7, it'll have to be closer than any game we've seen up until this point, or at least as close as it can possibly be, because this is as good as it gets in the NBA, a single elimination game for the Larry O'Brien. So
this is it. I got to ask you a question, though. So for us Canadians out here, I mean, depending on who you speak to, but Timmy's is the coffee that most Canadians will go to. We call it Timmy's. I don't know what you can marry because I know there's a lot of Tim Hortons out there in the United States. If it's not Tim Hortons, what is it for you guys? Is it Dunkin' Donuts?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because where I'm from, Rochester is pretty much where the line ends for Tim Hortons locations. There's a bunch in Buffalo. There's a good amount in Rochester, obviously a ton in Canada. But now that I'm downstate New York, 5 hours south of Rochester, you start to get to like the Syracuse area and beyond. There's no Tim Hortons in existence. So it's a unique perspective in Rochester because we do have the Tim Hortons, but nobody really goes to Tim Hortons in comparison to Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks. Those are the two primary options. Yeah.
Starbucks is the go-to?
Starbucks is I love both. I won't like in terms of having to pick one or the other. I'd probably lean Starbucks just because I think it's a little bit of a stronger coffee, but I'm really not like head over heels one side or the other. I really enjoy both.
So are you bougie? Because Starbucks gives me very bougie.
Yeah, Starbucks is that more bougie angle on it, but it's funny because it's really all the same. The prices are the same. What I like about Dunkin' is it does feel like you get more, and I do like Dunkin's flavors a bit more than I like Starbucks, but like I said, if I have to get one as opposed to the other or vice versa, sign me up. I like both. Tim Hortons never was a massive fan. I just don't, everything about what they have to offer and compare to those other two never really outweighed the other two. So I would choose either Starbucks or Dunkin'. But I always found it funny because growing up, Tim Hortons was there. I had one literally a 5-minute walk from my house almost. Like if you just left my neighborhood and went down the road, you'd be there. I didn't realize that it wasn't really a nationwide thing until I got older, and it's really nowhere else in the country.
Well, I'll tell you right now, Hillslayer does not like Dunkin' Donuts and does not like Timmy's coffee. I wonder, does he drink coffee at all?
Yeah.
He don't like coffee nowhere. Over here, it's either you're doing Timmy's, you're doing McDonald's coffee. McDonald's coffee is rising. Most folks, a lot of folks like the McDonald's coffee. And then McCafe, and then we keep it rolling. I was wondering because when I went down, actually, it was to your wedding. I was like, "Yo, there are no Tim Hortons, so like, what's the equivalent?" And I was like, "I guess Dunkin' Donut. That's all I see." And the Dunkin' Donut was all right. It was cool. I can mess with it.
And when it's funny too, because when I lived in Connecticut, that's pretty much the exact middle ground between New York and Massachusetts. And the deeper you get into Connecticut, the fewer Starbucks you see and the more Dunkin' you see, because Dunkin' is synonymous with the Massachusetts and Boston area. So it's kind of a weird melting pot of like coffee spots. And then there'll be like different random ones. You'll see like a Gregory's coffee every now and then. That's big in like New York City, some of that stuff. But the tried and trues are always fine with me. My biggest complaint with the coffee joints is the consistency. Like if you go to a McDonald's or like a Burger King or whatever, 99% of the time when you get food or whatever, or coffee, like you mentioned, because I'm pretty sure that McDonald's coffee is pre-blended, like you're going to get the same thing 99 out of 100 times. If you order the exact same Dunkin' Donuts coffee or Starbucks coffee at one location, drive an hour down the road and go to another one, the varying degree of taste in whatever they end up giving you is like completely unknown. You're essentially taking a gamble, even though you're ordering the exact same thing. That's always been my biggest complaint with the coffee places.
I will say this is because you're usually the king of segues, and I'll give that to you. Like you're pretty on par. I think I'm gonna take my hand. I'm gonna take a hand here and try to segue into our next topic because we're talking about coffee and we're talking about some watered down, some not. Something tells me that you needed a coffee to go see the last movie you saw.
Yeah,
kind of stay awake. Could it be?
Am
I putting you under the bus too much, or what are your thoughts?
No, I think I needed one, or I should have passed on one and just, I don't know, maybe gone with falling asleep. But I got around to seeing Sinners, which I was really excited to see. We've had our fair share of movie conversations on here in the past, and everybody knows I love a good thriller, and I love a horror movie that's kind of bordering on the thriller horror genre. And I was getting the vibe that this is what Sinners was. IMDb ratings were off the charts. It's sitting at around an 8 right now. People were ranting and raving about it. And I sat down real excited to watch. And I mean, granted, like I went into it really wanting to like it. I didn't.
Before you get into it, we talked about it earlier. You didn't see it. I was the one that was jumping on it. And I was telling folks, I didn't see the hype. Some folks were telling me, yo, you tripping. And I thought I was getting lambasted. Wait till you hear what Bot has to say. Bot, your thoughts on Sinners. Let the people know if you're really feeling it or maybe not.
I'm sorry. I wish it's kind of like the beach. Everybody loves the beach, and I'm the one who's got to say, man, I'd rather do anything than go to the beach. And I'm often sitting there wondering, what is it that I'm missing here? Because I'm in the minority. Everybody seems to love it, and I'm the one who just doesn't, and I don't get it. That's kind of how I felt with this movie, where everyone's ranting and raving about it. The reviews are usually spot on. It's rare that I'll watch a movie that's completely polar opposite to the reviews that it's getting. What killed me about this movie was that there was absolutely no plot whatsoever. It just felt like different segments thrown together from beginning to end, and there was no rhyme or reason to anything. And by the time it ended, I was sitting there saying, what was the whole basis of the movie here? What was the plot? What was the goal? What was the point? There was a couple of cool scenes. I thought the end was fun for sure. The very end. But
I found that interesting, but I didn't like it. But go on.
Spoiler alert, and it's really not much of a spoiler alert because it's been out for a while, and by now I'm sure you know that it's like a vampire/zombie movie. Here's what killed me. The dude crawls up to those people's house. Remember, the lady opens the door with the gun, and she's like, what are you doing here? He's crawling up to the door, and he's clearly deformed, and he's like steaming, and they're like, what the heck's going on here? They didn't establish why that happened to him. Then all of a sudden, she goes back to the door because the other dude came by on the horse and was looking for that guy, right? All of a sudden, that group of people that was in the house just show up to Michael B. Jordan's juke joint, and they're like the villains for no reason. They're vampires for no reason. There was no explanation given as to why everybody started turning into what they were turning into. And then once everybody turned into the vampire or whatever, what killed me the most is the amount of time spent during that movie, the non-vampires and the vampires just conversing with one another at the door, just trying to justify what was going on. Like, dude, are they not eating people outside or are they? Because if they are, like, why are we sitting here having a fireside chat? You
got to invite them in. They're polite. You got to invite them in. And if you don't, so be it.
So is music was the point, Rico, that music is evil? Because if that was the point, then I just don't understand the basis behind it. Like, no, why?
It's a lot. And this is the thing. It's a lot deeper than that. We're not gonna. I can't get into a whole movie thing.
So you're calling me stupid?
No, not at all. This guy's a fool. It's just a lot of folks when listening to music, you're just not listening to music. There's spirits behind certain music and generations of how music came along, and you saw all mixtures of it, and there's a lot more to it. It's there's levels to this. There's levels to it. But overall, to me, I'm with you. I wouldn't be as harsh as you were. I was just like, everybody hyped it up like it was something to behold this movie. It was like, man, I've seen better. Till Dusk Till Dawn was what they were trying to do. Dusk Till Dawn was a vampire. For those that don't know Dusk Till Dawn, go watch that, then you'll know what I'm talking about. But for the most part, not bad. Now I need your thoughts. Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on her performance?
Well, the little bit of screen time she had, I thought was good. Based on that movie, I thought she was going to be this main role that had a huge effect on the plot and the outcome. How much screen time did Haley Steinfeld have in that movie? It was a 2-hour movie. How much do you think she was actually on screen for? 20 minutes? This is where I was confused. Like, the whole movie going into it, I thought Haley Steinfeld was going to be like the catalyst behind whatever happened that went wrong. She just walked outside, grabbed a gold coin, and all of a sudden, boom, she's with the rest of them. I don't know, man. I couldn't follow it, I guess.
Listen, and maybe you have to, some movies you have to watch it a second and third time for you to really appreciate it. Maybe it's one of those situations. I doubt you'll go and watch it a second time.
They ain't getting me twice. They are not getting me twice. Now, let me tell you something. You want to know what I'm excited about? Speaking of the same genre, have you seen the trailer for the new Jordan Peele movie about the football player called Him? That's a first day in the theater movie for me. I cannot wait for that movie.
I'm all in. I'm all in. You ain't got to tell me nothing. Anything Jordan Peele gives me.
Me too.
Sign me up. I'm all in. By the way, my girl Laura says the music was the one thing that I really liked in Sinners. Rest was trash.
Same here. And they were vilifying the music the whole time. It was like the bad thing about the movie. That was what I was enjoying the most.
Yeah, and I went to see it in Screen X with the screen on the side. Not the movie to go see it because you rarely saw anything on the Screen X, but that's neither here nor there.
How was that experience?
Well, it was underwhelming. Absolutely underwhelming. By the way, Alton Venezuela says, "Are we surprised Bot doesn't like Sinners?"
What's that supposed to mean? I wanted to like it.
What do you mean?
I'm not some harsh critic here. Like I told you, I cried my eyes out at Silver Linings Playbook. Like I'm easily pleased if a movie is good. I know Silver Linings Playbook won an Oscar or whatever, but still, like, I mean, I'm not looking for, not every movie needs to be Pulp Fiction. If a movie from beginning to end, and I'm sitting at the end saying, what just happened? And not in a way where I'm like, oh my God, what just happened? I'm sitting there and I'm like, what just happened? Then, it's not for me.
Bot needs to be grabbed right from the very beginning and hold him right to the end.
We're talking,
have him guessing what's happening next. And that's how you got Bot. But if you lose him on one little thing, it's over with. Don't do it. Don't try to. You can't get my trust back. Bot is one of those guys. You have my trust until you don't. And you're done.
Luckily for me, I like Haley Steinfeld. I like Michael B. Jordan. I loved the guy. I loved the characters in it were fun. Like the guy, the cornbread playing the door. I thought he was hilarious. The dude that played the keys, I thought he was funny.
There's one scene I got to talk about real quick. This is for the grown folk in the building. My man's met. It's funny. He meets the girl at the beginning, Pearline, and he's like, "Ooh, she pretty, Pearline. She pretty, right?" Meets Pearline at the juke joint. Pearline is dancing, sweating like a mug, and this brother's like, "Yeah, that's the way I like it." Boy, if you don't stop, go get yourself a rag real quick. You know what I mean? Damp that thing. You know what I mean? And then we can talk. My man said, "Nah, let me get on it."
Every 20 minutes of that movie was broken up by something hypersexual. Like every 20 minutes, like out of nowhere. It would just be like, it would just come out of nowhere.
I thought that was hilarious. That part, I was like, ooh, nah. You lost me there, right, Cougar? You lost me there, but hey, to each their own, because I know some folks that are like that. They're like, nah, bro, give me it all. I want all the seasoning. Bro, you better stop.
Hey, I'll just say this. It's not a movie I'd watch with your parents. To be frank. I mean, that's not a movie I'd chill and watch with the family. Because there's multiple times you're going to be like, yeah, I got to run to the bathroom real quick, or I got to grab a glass of water or something. But, like I said, I really wanted to enjoy it. But I don't know. It just didn't have a whole big plot to me.
At least we got to see Josh's girl out there. And I will say this, though. Josh was asked the other day, he was doing a rapid fire answering questions. I don't know if you saw it. And they asked him, I think the question was, who is the big celebrity you know? And he was like, Haley Steinfeld. I was like, all right, my boy's got it. He's got it. His girl is she's out there. She's doing her thing. You gotta love it that my man is living life right now. Would you say Josh he's that dude right now, isn't he?
I mean,
Josh Allen is that dude. Everything is coming up Josh Allen. The only thing right now, currently, at age 29, missing for Josh is that ring. He needs the ring.
Not a bad place to be.
He's gonna be a Hall of Famer. He's on his way. He needs that ring. He cannot turn into, bro, he can't be Karl Malone. You can't turn into a Karl Malone. You can't turn into a Charles Barkley. You can't turn into a Dan Marino. You're too damn good to not get one. He's got to get it. Everything's coming up Josh, man. That boy's making money. He's in commercials. You know what I'm saying? He just married a baddie. Like, bro, you got to get it. Talk to me, man. I mean,
hell no. And that's what sucks is like, now McDavid's they're comparing the Oilers to the Bills. I saw Warren Sharp say, imagine the Oilers go and do that 2 more times. Then and only then could you understand the suffering that Bills fans have been through. And it sucks because McDavid is incredible to watch. He draws me to a TV, and now he's back-to-back cup losses, and that's what he's known as right now, and that's unfortunate. And that, of course, is what Josh Allen is known at by people who want to look at solely team accomplishments. Everybody wants to talk about the shortcomings in the playoffs, the inability to beat the Chiefs or whatever. But We're talking about a kid who grew up in Firebaugh, California on a farm, driving to practice in a beat-up pickup truck, and now all of a sudden he's on national commercials. He's got his face on Snickers bars. He's making damn near $500 million. Like you said, he's married to an A-list celebrity. He's got an MVP under his belt. He's the quarterback of one of the best teams in football, and he's arguably the best team in football. The guy's on a record run. And like you mentioned it, the only way to really solidify what has been just an incredible rags to riches story is to get Buffalo their first ever Super Bowl title. If he does that, he will be immortalized not only in Buffalo, but in sports history forever because of what Buffalo has gone through, how long it took to get to that point, and Josh Allen being the guy to get them over that point, Rico.
You're right, man. And you think of sports stories, you think of like, although you mean movie and all that stuff, Rudy, you think of sports stories like that. You're like, that's a great story. You know what I mean? From you know what I mean, little guy to, you know what I mean, that dude, right? The movie that that Mark Wahlberg played as the
Invincible.
What was that one called?
Invincible
with Vince, whatever his name was. Great story, bro.
Yep.
The Buffalo Bills, a team that most folks feel sorry for, a team that most folks, when they think the Buffalo Bills, they say, oh, those 4 Super Bowls, when are they going to ever get it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Bro, you finally break a drought 17 years deep. You finally have a franchise quarterback. They're on a winning trajectory. They're killing the game. 5-time division champ. Like, fam, you're knocking on the door. Yeah, we got to kick that door down. Kick it down. This is one of the, if he does it, the Bills will be one of the best stories in sports history based on their history and based on what they missed out on and what they have now and how the fans have stuck by these guys. I don't think I've ever seen in a Bills game when we were losing 17 straight season, a paper bag over any fan in a Bills stadium. I've never seen it. We've never been that. The fans always stuck by this team. Bro, bring us home, man. Bring us home, for crying out loud. And that's why I'm invested in what this team is going to do. And we're built to last. I feel like we're built to last with the young developing pieces that we've brought onto this team that can take us for a few more years with Josh Allen still in his prime. Bro, we're built to last, bro. We got to kick this freaking door down. We got to kick it down. It's essential. It needs to happen. Josh Allen, bring us home. It's got to be that way. But man, everything's coming up, Josh. Everything's coming up, Josh, and I love to see it. We just got to kick that damn door down. Man.
Yeah, you'll never see a trophy erected on the grounds of a stadium quicker than you will after Josh Allen wins one with the Bills. It took the Patriots 5 years to announce they were building a Tom Brady statue. That apparently is coming later this year, I believe. Took them 5 years since Tom Brady left the Patriots to put that statue up, the greatest quarterback of all time. I don't think the Bills should wait a calendar year to put that statue up if Josh Allen were to end up winning the Super Bowl for Buffalo. And listen, this is the best year, I think, in a while that they've had. I mean, you can make this argument, of course, in years past year. They've had several great chances at it. But when you factor in the strength of schedule this year, you factor in Josh Allen being at his peak right now, the weakness of the AFC East, and the fact that this team added substantially to the defensive side of the ball to the point where I think that they are going to improve. And even if it's marginally, I still think this offense is so good that a marginal increase on defense might be all that it takes. I mean, they are set up perfectly right now. And this is really the opportunity to go and capitalize on that opportunity, because you're looking at a year where you're going into the last season at an iconic stadium. You're going into a year where the Bills, as it stands right now, are still riding momentum built up from these previous years here. I mean, all of a sudden, if you throw in another year like they had a couple of years ago to end the season against Cincinnati, like who knows? I mean, the way that they've been going at it here, they've been so close and going out in valiant efforts that it just feels like the momentum is still there. They have to continue to ride on that momentum. And I think that we've watched them, even this offseason, continue to ride that momentum. And I've talked highly of Brandon Beane this offseason and his ability to not sleep on this team's window that they're currently within. And that's why I think he really went all in, or at least all into the capacity in which he's capable of adding to this defense, getting guys in offensively, even though they might not be bona fide wide receiver one, still adding guys that could be better than a Matt Collins or an Amari Cooper, that could eventually ascend this Bills offense to even better than an offense that scored 31 points just a season ago. So this Bills team goes into the year as the only NFL team favored to win every single game that they play.
Crazy.
And because of that, there's no excuse. The strength of schedule, the weakness of the division, Josh Allen at quarterback, the surrounding elements, and what I believe now to be a defense that's going to be good enough to be a difference maker as opposed to perhaps being an issue. I mean, Rico, we have a really exciting season ahead of us, and I cannot wait for it to be here. We are literally about a month removed from training camp. The schedule just came out, by the way. The Bills will be back in my hometown of Rochester, New York.
585.
John Fisher College, the 585, and they will kick things off in terms of training camp on Wednesday, July 23rd. So I don't know why, Rico. I always associate training camp with August. I could be wrong. Maybe this isn't early, but it just kind of feels early. Regardless, I'm excited for it because we're about a month away from getting into legitimate Bills practices. And then, of course, their first preseason game, August 8th against the Bears. And I believe that will be on primetime TV. And we will also have Hard Knocks as well. So we're not too far away from really being able to sink our teeth into these Bills.
Well, I'll say this. We were talking about how excited we are about this upcoming season. I certainly am. But our good buddy PVC fam is saying, wow, so you guys like this weak roster like that? This definitely can't. I mean, this defense can't rely on getting those turnovers again, and Josh still covers it all up. So PVC fam is just not impressed. So and you know what? He may not be the only one on that page or on that stance of not being excited about this defense. So if you're not excited about the moves that we've made and the focus that we put in on strictly this defense, this draft spoke volumes on what the premise was. It was to improve this defense. So if you're not excited about this defense at all, that means you weren't excited about this draft. That means you're not excited about anything that we're going to do this year because you're pretty much saying that we pretty much stay stagnant and we're going to rely on Josh, which I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think that we're going to rely on Josh like we have in the past. I think this defense is going to be a lot more potent, a lot more ready to roll and helping Josh, right? And how could and it's weird because you guys like this weird guys roster. You can't rely on getting those turnovers. That's what McDermott does. His defense is predicated on getting the ball. That's what a good defense does. Take the ball away from the offense. So, and we've done it consistently. So how could you say you're not excited about that? That's a premise of this defense. So like, if we're not doing it, that means this defense is trash. And I haven't seen McDermott's defense be trash regular season. It's always in the playoffs that they don't do their job. So the focus was, we know what we do in the regular season. Playoffs is where we come in. That's why we got in guys like Joey Bosa, that the veteran guy that hopefully he stays healthy. They can get us over the hump. So I don't know, to be not excited about it. I don't know. I think that's a stretching that. You got to be a little bit excited. You can't just say, oh, Josh is the only reason I'm excited for this. Nah, bro. You got to be excited for the whole squad altogether. But what are your thoughts when you hear, you guys are excited about this weekend? This team? Nah, bro. This roster is weak. How do you refute that?
I don't think PVC's not excited. I think that he is concerned about elements of this team that are understandably elements to be concerned about. I mean, if we didn't have last year to look back on, I'd probably be right in the same boat as PVC is right now. If I didn't have a reference point of a Bills team going into a year where they were expected to have a decline, where this offense lost major key pieces, and it ascended to a level that we haven't seen before, it was perhaps the best in the league. So good, in fact, it led to Josh Allen winning the MVP. So good, in fact, they scored 31 points per game. James Cook led the league in total touchdowns. If we did not have that as a reference point, then I would completely understand that mentality. And even though we do have that as a reference point, I still understand and I still sympathize with this idea that going into this year, it's tough to believe that the Bills are going to be the Super Bowl team because their roster isn't necessarily constructed the way a Philadelphia Eagles roster is, or perhaps a Detroit Lions roster is. This is where it all boils down to me, to number 17. Josh Allen has instilled a confidence in me to the point where I am no longer worried about many things other organizations are worried about. I'm not worried about the regular season. The Bills are going to make the playoffs. I'm not worried about winning the division. I'd be stunned beyond belief if the Buffalo Bills do not win the AFC East. Not just because they're not good, not just because they should. They're the best team in the division by a landslide, but because who else is going to win it? The Bills would have to fall off of a cliff for another one of those teams to ascend to the top and win that division. I don't see it. The way I look at this team, though, offensively, no, they do not have the firepower that some of these other teams do. Everybody knows that. Defensively, they have let this team down in the biggest moments. But we go back to last year, what the offense was able to do. I'm starting to come around to the idea that this offense should be and very well will be better this upcoming year. I think we're going to get a lot out of Josh Palmer and Elijah Moore. Yep. I think Dalton Kincaid knows it's time to be the guy on this team this year. Keon Coleman missed several games last year, and he has been as honest as anybody has ever been about his performance last year. And he's been very candid about, hey, that's not what I want to be at. And this year, I'm going to show you what the level of play needs to be at, and I'm going to do my best to get to that level. We got James Cook, who's going to want to play his ass off to get paid by either the Bills or somebody else. There's several arguments in place right now to argue that a Bills team last year, whose offense was maybe the best in the league, could be and will be better this year. Then on the defensive side of the ball, I understand all of the concerns that many people would have, right? It's very young, and guys that are coming in out of the draft will likely be dependent upon to allow this defense to ascend. If not the young guys, it will be veteran guys who all have an injury history. I get all that. But we look at the Bills D last year, we look at it this year. And if we're comparing the emphasis on additions and the emphasis on being able to get that defense to ascend, if not just marginally, if we look at the Bills' willingness and ability to go out and add, this is why I've been so excited about Brandon Beane consistently throwing darts at the board. Yes, there's injury history with these vets. Not all of them are just going to sustain an injury that's going to keep them out for the year. Maybe it's one guy, maybe it's three guys. One or multiple of these vets added to this team are going to be impactful for this Bills defense. And then I'm sorry, but you invest 6 of 9 draft picks. Yep. You mean to tell me that not at least one of those guys is going to come in and be a difference maker? And if that's the case, you get one young difference maker, Rico, one vet difference maker. You can't tell me that that's not the marginal increase that this defense needed in order for it to be good enough for the Bills to win the Super Bowl. I don't think, Rico, the Bills defense has to be what Philadelphia was this past Super Bowl to go the distance. I believe and trust in Josh Allen in this offense enough to where if this defense can just be better than allowing Kansas City to score more than 30 for the first time all year, they're in a good spot.
You know what? I agree with that. We don't have to be like the Eagles.
No.
We don't have to be like the Ravens. We just need that difference maker on the offense. Maybe that one or two pieces that just do enough, right? Like, who was it? Who was the Pacers game, right? We were talking about. They were talking about the analysis was sometimes you don't need to make you don't need the guy that blocks the shot. You need the guy that alters the shot, right? He didn't block it, but he got in the way enough to make a difference, and that sometimes is all you need. Look, Chris Jones didn't get the sack on Josh Allen, but he did enough to push Deion Dawkins back into Josh, alters Josh's throw, and misses a wide open Khalil Shakir. That play was crucial, right? So those are the type of things that we're going to be looking for this year. So I'm so glad you brought that up. So which ties this in perfectly. We talk about pieces to the team that will need to step their game up or do whatnot, do enough to be a piece that aids this team. So going back to minicamp, we just finished minicamp just a week ago. If you were going to look at a winner and losers, or looking at winners and losers of minicamp, does anybody stand out to you that was a winner, clear winner in this? They came out looking really good, and you're looking to see big leaps and bounds from this player. And was there someone that, I don't know about this player right here. I don't know, like this camp, they didn't come out looking good, so they gotta really turn things around going into training camp. Does anybody stand out? I know I'm throwing you on the spot a little bit. If you need a minute to think, I can give you a couple just to kind of get it going here.
No, I mean, one guy that stands out to me in terms of a winner is Dalton Kincaid. And we'll talk about him later on in the show, because that's going to be one of the guys we'll bring up in terms of a guy that needs to step up, that has the most to prove going into the 2025 season. And I think it's already off to a great start. Dalton Kincaid comes in. Plenty of speculation on him putting on necessary weight, right? Did he do it? Has he been working out in the offseason, getting bulked up, getting his body prepared for a huge year? Sean McDermott confirmed that he's seen that within him, that he feels like he's put the work in, that he's seen him show up ready to rock. We saw Alex Brasky tweet out during one of the mini camp sessions that the Dalton Kincaid show was visible, jumping up and down all over the place, leaping over guys, grabbing touchdown passes. I know it's a very marginal, or I know it's a very small sample size, but I love seeing that, because I think Dalton Kincaid, out of everybody on this team this year, he might have the most pressure on him, right? Because you're talking about a first-round draft pick that this team is relying on to end up being worthy of that choice. It's not like the Bills have the luxury, I think, of Dalton Kincaid not being exactly what they drafted him to be. If he ends up taking that ascension, or if he ends up, becoming exactly what they drafted him to be, if he does ascend, as we keep talking about, the sky's the limit for this Bills offense. And I love to see, even though it was a small sample size, that he did come out in the mini camp session and show everybody that he's off to the right start here, that he is going to be putting his best foot forward. And then within that same type of positional group, or at least in terms of weapons, Keon Coleman's right there with him as well. You could argue they're in the same boat in terms of needing to prove themselves this upcoming year, both coming off of injury, both needing to add size, and both looking to come out and really be X factors for this offense. We saw that as well from Keon Coleman in the mini camp session as well. And I loved that Keon Coleman came out and was his own biggest critic. I love that, especially out of a guy going into year two. Yep. He was as honest and transparent as he could be about his performance last year, which wasn't terrible by any means, but it wasn't up to his standard. And I don't think it was up to anybody's standard, because the standard right now for Keon Coleman is high. The expectation, the desire is for him to be Josh Allen's ex-receiver. Those two guys stood out to me, and it just so happens to be the two guys that I am looking for the biggest, the biggest progression out of in terms of this offense this upcoming year. But how about you? Is there anybody else in particular that stood out? Those two guys, who's on your mind?
You know what? You kind of touched on one, and I'm going to touch on it as well. That's Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman came out as a clear winner, but not because of the sound bites. Man, my last season was trash. No, it was clear from day one. The minute he came into camp, you could tell Mans was in the gym. You know what I mean? He was in the gym. He looked a lot bigger. He looked a lot stronger. He didn't have to worry about all the distractions of coming out of college and doing the combine. So he could focus on his body and his nutrition. And it was clear. GM and Brandon Beane and head coach Sean McDermott were sitting here going, whoa, we see the difference. We can tell that he was in the gym. Secondly, his route running ability got a little more crisper. He was the I guess the chemistry between himself and Josh were evident during minicamp. So those are the things now that puts kind of Kincaid a little in the background, because Keon was the one who took over as the guy that's about to take a big leap. We talk about Kincaid wanting or should take the leap, but Keon was saying, hey, it's clear and evident that I have worked out. I have been doing what I need to do. So this is what you're going to see from me this year. You're going to see a better individual, a better player for this squad, a little more mature and ready to go. And he almost makes you forget about, we just brought in Josh Palmer, right? He makes you forget about that. We just signed Elijah Moore. So this was a good win for Keon. Hopefully that transcends and it gets into training camp and obviously into the season. So that's number one for me. If we're going to look at more winners, I like that you said Kincaid. So I don't want to jump on Kincaid. So if I'm gonna talk about winners, and I gotta go Buffalo Joe. Buffalo Joe Andreessen. You want to talk about a winner? Fam, you went from being the local kid to getting a shot to be on the Buffalo Bills, the team that you rooted for your whole life, et cetera, et cetera. And now you're potentially could be in the rotation. You are going to be a name that they lean on. And you did everything you should have done last year to take advantage of every opportunity you had. And then you come in this year, minicamp, making plays on the football. right? Being better in coverage, because that was one of the things that was his knock, was he wasn't great coverage linebacker. You improve on that part. You can tell that being around the likes of Matt Milano, Bernard has absolutely helped this game. Joe Andreessen, Buffalo Joe, certainly is a winner. And I'll tell you this much. Bale Inspector should absolutely be biting on his fingernails, because this could be something that we should be paying full attention to on that linebacker room. We didn't touch the linebacker room in the draft. We didn't touch the linebacker room in free agency. All of a sudden, we bring in Shaq Thompson on top of that. This looks great for Joe Andreessen. So big winner for me on the defensive side of the ball. Buffalo Joe Andreessen, man, good stuff coming out from him. And I'm looking forward to seeing the local kid get a little bit more shine on this Bills defense.
I love that, especially for a guy that everybody's rooting for too. That's a guy that everybody would love to come in and have an impact. So great choice by you. Another guy on the defensive side of the ball that was someone that stood out was Cole Bishop, of course. Cole Bishop seemed to stand out on the defensive side of the ball during minicamp, and that is a great sign for us Bills fans, because we know that the Bills do need to solidify that safety position. Was hurt last year. They spent a second-round pick on him last draft and weren't able to see what they had in him last year. Or by the time they could, it was just a little too late to throw a rookie out there and have him develop off of an injury. So seeing him show flashes in minicamp, looking like he is rising to the level that the Bills defense is hoping he'll bring to the table, was a great sign too, because I think he's a forgotten about guy right now, right, Rico? Because he's hurt last year, doesn't get a ton of time, and we're forgetting that's a second-round draft pick that could be just one more guy added to a slew of other new bodies on the defensive side of the ball that you're going to look at this year and say, oh, all of a sudden, he's making an impact. Last year wasn't out there. Once the season starts and guys aren't out there on a continuous basis, you do just naturally forget about them. You don't forget that they're on the team, but you just forget about their potential impact on the team. Now it's coming back to you where you're like, oh yeah, second round draft pick here at a position that is much needed by the Buffalo Bills, at a position that the Bills have been looking to try and find a replacement for after the departure of Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, to try and get back to that level that tandem was. You go throughout the whole year and you forget what you had in a second round pick or what you could potentially have. Now you go into minicamp. He's off to a great start. And it's one more guy within that Buffalo defense, within that puzzle of a Buffalo defense, I should say, all these pieces kind of coming together. That's what's really been fueling my excitement here. It's not that I'm sitting here guaranteeing the Bills defense is going to be a world beater or going to be significantly better than last year. All I know is right now the Bills have newer bodies, they've added guys, and that was a necessity because they couldn't just sit on what they were last year and expect things to change drastically, and that's not what they did. So not only do you bring in new guys, but you also have a guy like Cole Bishop who didn't get a whole lot of burn last year that could be relied upon heavy this year, and if he does end up taking that next step, one more piece to help that Buffalo defense ascend, whether marginally, massively, whatever, just enough to be reliable in the postseason, potentially be the difference we've been waiting for them to be for some time now.
Let me jump in on one that might be, it's a 50-50 here. I'm going to go James Cook, and I'm going to say James Cook winner. And folks might say, what do you mean? But he held out, did all this, did all that. Let me tell you why I believe James Cook is a winner in all of this. Because what he did was essentially put his pride aside. Because if you have one thing that we tend to have sometimes, and to the fault of our own, is pride. We tend to hold on to our pride, and sometimes it takes a bigger person, a bigger move for you to say, let me put my pride aside and look for the team first. James Cook to me is a clear-cut winner after the mandatory minicamp, and let me tell you why. So you're looking at a guy that's he wants his money. He knows that the money is potentially not coming this year. So what am I supposed to do here? I can sit here and be selfish and just be the me player, but I see Josh Allen here. I see the movement that we're making. I see how close we are. Let me put my pride aside and let me be the guy that shows up to minicamp. Now, he may not have done a whole lot, but he did participate. And that's a win in together, because now You got the whole team saying, you know what? I know that you deserve your money, but you showed up for us. So that to me is a win. Some folks might look at this like, yo, I don't know about that, man, bro. He was causing all this drama, this, that, and the third. Fam, he came in and says, hey, man, maybe I did this all on my own. And it probably wasn't the right thing for me to do. So to actually admit that and actually show up, fam, that goes a long way. Hopefully that's what Bean recognizes. And Bean says, you know what, let me reward you with your contract that you deserve. We just got to work the numbers out and get to where we need to be. But for me, having Cook there, your second best offensive player, let's keep it a buck, your second best offensive player, that is huge for this team. So that show goes a long way. So having James Cook show up to camp, and then he'll be there for training camp, hopefully, you know what I mean? Then this is a big win. Big win for James Cook, big win for the Bills, big win for Brandon Beane, big win for the chemistry for this offense, because this offense is going to rely heavily upon Josh Allen, heavily upon the run game with James Cook leading the way. So this is huge. Big win. James Cook showing up for me, minicamp, and putting his pride aside. Massive. Big win.
James Cook, no doubt, was a winner from the Buffalo Bills minicamp. Whether he winds up getting rewarded by Brandon Beane or not, he made the right decision in showing up for himself. Ultimately, the team benefits from this decision as well. So it was the right decision for the team as well. I mean, James Cook was really in a corner here financially in terms of the options that he had available to him. And I think he made the right decision. And I think that this is going to lead to the best possible outcome for him at the end of this upcoming year, whether that be, staying with Buffalo or going somewhere else. This was the right move. James Cook could have played this differently. And if he did play it differently, I don't think the outcome of this upcoming season would be as optimistic. I wouldn't be as optimistic about the outcome of this upcoming season for him, because I'd be worried about, I'd be worried about the risks he's taking here, not only in the public eye, because people do not care about the money. Everybody looks at these players and they forget that this is their job. So nobody really cares unless it's an egregious non-pay by the organization. I think Trey Henderson's a good example right now where you are the league leader in sacks and the Bengals just seem to have no willingness to pay him top of the market money. That's one that just blows everybody's mind, and it's really questionable. But when you're looking at Cook's perspective, the amount of money that he's making, the amount of money that he would have to forfeit if he had not showed up, the amount of money potentially on the line to earn showing up and having a great year, no doubt a winner. And like you said, solid argument for James Cook being the second best player in totality on this offense. Another great year for James Cook is going to result in a great outcome for James Cook. 100% a winner during the minicamp session, because he's setting himself up for success going into a huge year for him in year 4 here.
Does anybody else stand out to you as a winner? Offense, defense, anybody else? Because I have an obscure person on this list for winners and losers, but we're sticking to the winner side on this point. Anybody else stand out to you before I jump in there?
No glaring. Overall, it seemed like it was solid. It's such a small sample size. But the nice thing about that sample size, Rico, is there did seem to be several guys stand out, even though it was, in a little fat or a small fashion. I still think that it was noticeable, which is great. But that was probably the bulk of the winners for me. But is there anybody else that stood out to you?
Sean McDermott.
Ooh,
winner.
That's a great poll.
Sean McDermott, winner. Let me tell you why Sean McDermott is a winner in all of this, right? So obviously, there's a lot of pressure on Sean McDermott, right? You're winning the division, great, awesome. One of the winningest coaches right now, actively, awesome. But you keep getting bounced out in the playoffs. So could players be checked out? Could they be like, I'm not ready to show up? Right. The fact that you had 100% of people show up for minicamp and they respect it, they get it. You got Josh Allen showing up to OTAs, bro. He's got everybody still bought in to the system, to the process, and there's nobody wavering. They love this guy. And the fact that you still have it years down the line, sometimes the message gets stale. Nobody's listening anymore. Sean McDermott talking this whole mess. No, bro, everybody's bought in, ready to go. And that's a testament to how he leads this team. Call him what you want to call him, say he's a bad coach and say he needs to be fired and say all the things underneath the sun. But he's got every one of these guys' attention. He's got every one of these guys buy-in. this is a big win for Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane. So this has just got the trends got to continue into training camp and continue into the season and continue to keep doing what we do. And eventually it's got to fall our way. Eventually it's got to fall. The fumble, the ball has to bounce our way so we can take that into the end zone. And that's the Super Bowl. So to me, big winner in this, in my opinion, is Sean McDermott having everybody bought in and 100% dialed in, ready for the season. Sean McDermott, winner for me.
Great poll for Sean McDermott, 100% a winner, right? He's coming into a year where last year it felt like he was being questioned tremendously. He had this team in terrific position once again. The year prior to that, of course, Sean McDermott under major fire was able to get that team to rebound when it seemed like all hope was lost. And it's just, I think that the way he approaches every year is exactly how you want to see your coach approach the year. I go back to what Shaq Thompson said about Sean McDermott when he was brought into the team, his excitement to be reunited with McDermott, talking about how great he was with the Panthers and how much he's seen that be brought to Buffalo. But yeah, Sean McDermott always has these guys ready to rock, ready to roll, and this year will be no different. So that's a great poll by you for sure.
Like that. So now we've talked about winners. Unfortunately, we gotta slide on over to the losers. Who was a loser in this? And we use the word loser just to kind of explain, folks, not losers, but you know who didn't come out on the winning side, right? And you've got more questions than answers. Folks that should be kind of worried a little bit. Does anybody stand out to you in this regard for coming out of minicamp, mandatory minicamp? Who do you see as a loser in this?
Unfortunately, a loser from the Bills minicamp was Joey Bosa, and it was no fault of his own. But okay. Joey Bosa gets brought into this team. There was speculation that he could have joined his brother in San Francisco, but opted to join the Bills instead. He's being brought in to be that X factor on the D line, being brought in to be the guy to get after the quarterback that the Bills have been trying to find for some time now. And when Joey Bosa is healthy, he's as good as it gets in the NFL in that category. The unfortunate reality for Joey Bosa throughout his career is he's been bitten by the injury bug maybe more than any other great player like himself throughout time here. I mean, it really is just beyond unfortunate, the injury history and the injuries over time that Joey Bosa has sustained being as great as he is. It's bad for any player. It sucks for any player. Yep. When you're as great as Joey Bosa is, to continue to consistently be sidelined because of things out of your control is unfortunate. But to be sidelined for minicamp before even lining up for a practice snap just sucks. I mean, you look at the situation in totality. Is it the biggest deal in the world? No. Would you rather have it happen now than later? Yes. And is a veteran like Joey Bosa going to really miss out from a couple of missed practices in June? No, but it still blows that a guy that is known for, unfortunately, being hurt more often than usual, to come into a new team where if the Bills are able to get the most out of him, he's going to be a world of difference for this defense. To come in and instantly be unavailable because of an issue that he has been plagued by throughout his whole career, it stinks. So Joey Bosa, a loser from training camp for now, simply because of his inability to be out there with the team. But luckily, not as bad as it could have been. Will be ready for training camp. And everybody knows my thoughts on this situation. The key for the Buffalo Bills and Joey Bosa in 2025 is to ensure that he's healthy when it matters most. And I hope that that is at the forefront of his utilization in 2025. I hope the mindset behind putting in Joey Bosa in strategic spots is based around preserving him for the biggest spots. Because I do think that Joey Bosa being healthy out on that field for the Bills defense is going to be a difference maker for Buffalo. So looking forward to seeing what he has in training camp, getting ready to roll with these guys and building the rapport on that D and kind of giving McDermott an idea of how he's going to use them. Just unfortunate that he was not around for the mini camp session, and we're rooting for a healthy year out of Bosa, and hopefully it's out of the way early here.
I'm going to agree with you. I got Bosa on my list as well as a loser. And I hate to use the word loser, but that's what it is, right? I hate to see it because, I mean, you come into this already with pressure on you. Like you said, I had a chance to play with my brother, and I said, nah, I'm going to go to Buffalo to get a fresh start, fresh opportunity. This team is on the rise. I want to be part of it, and hopefully I can reinvent myself as a healthy Joey Bosa going into this. But now he's got the injury setback. You come into OTAs thinking, okay, this is the light work. This is all this. All of a sudden, he's got a strained calf. He can't do anything. Go into minicamp, mandatory minicamp, still unavailable, working out on the side, but not available. And we all know, though, the famous line, your best ability is your availability. And we didn't have that in minicamp. Yes, I understand. It's minicamp, Rico. Shut your mouth up. No, but sometimes it's about the presence. It's about you being there in the drills with the guys, right? And the stigma is you can't stay healthy. And you proved it right before even training camp, for crying out loud. We didn't even get into the season yet, and you're already on that list. So that's number one. That setback is a big one. Let's keep going. Missed opportunities, man. The missed opportunities to get really in there with the guys, right? To really gel. And when you're on the sidelines on the bike and you're getting rehab, you don't have that the gelling, right? And that's what is huge. Von Miller said it, man. Yo, this is a great group, man. Once you get into it with these guys are a great group. So those are the things that stood out to me when looking at really performing. And then lastly, there's a lot of pressure, man. Pressure. You're Joey Bosa. You're supposed to come in there and really do it. And if you come in knowing that, listen, I already have this light over me that I can't stay healthy. And Laura said it best. She says, it must really suck, right? It must be awful to put so much energy into football and keep getting hurt. And that's the tough part. Mentally, it's draining. So hopefully, mentally, he's strong enough to come in here. But I mean, you got to be available. And that, to me, that's what hurt him in this one. So that's what I put him on a loser list. Hopefully, he can get off that list and he can go from there. Let me jump in on another one, and then you can jump in right after. I'm gonna go to funny enough, Laviska Shenault. Loser in this for me. And I'll tell you why he's a loser in this, right? So you're on the bottom of the list. And most people are gonna be like, well, I mean, we all knew that it's a 50-50 chance to get make the squad, but his grip on being a returner is what has him available. But in camp, you're dropping footballs, you're fumbling, right? Those are things that coaches see and like, I'm gonna remember that. So now you're in a position where like you don't have a firm foundation. You never really did, but these things don't help. So to me, loser in this, because why? Jalen Virgil, the guy that we brought in from the Broncos last year, has the speed, has the ability to stay healthy, and was on the squad last year. This is an opportunity to show your speed. Some folks will say, hey, the Bills didn't really go after anybody that got the speed. So we have one on the roster. You just don't know his name yet. He was turning heads in camp. So the fact that he can return the football and can do those things and is building chemistry with Josh, he had some big-time catches, big-time performances in minicamp. I know it's minicamp, but better to be great and do solid things than not. And that's where Laviska Shenault found himself. So loser in this is Laviska, because you might lose your opportunity to Jalen Virgil. Not a bad thing, but to me, loser in this, I'm gonna go to Laviska Shenault. I don't know if you have anybody else on your list, because I got a couple more that I can go with. But go ahead, I'll let you have this one.
No, keep riding. I'm loving hearing.
Let me keep riding, man. Dane Jackson, loser. Now, let me tell you why Dane Jackson is a loser in this one. Because you have first-round draft pick Maxwell Harrison, Christian Benford already locked in, Trey White, a fan favorite, a guy that already knows the system, right, and excelled in the system. It's just a matter of him getting his feet underneath him. And then you bring in Jordan Hancock. Then you bring in Dorian Strong. Bro, that's tough. That is tough already. You got the young guys, and right now, Dorian is playing some good football. He's one of the sticky man-to-man corners out there that got drafted this year. So it's tough for Dane Jackson. And we knew Dane coming into this, he's a depth piece. So like, is he really going to make some noise? But like right now, he's on the bubble out. He's on the bubble right now. And he's probably outside the bubble a little bit by looking at what these guys are doing. But right now, being outshined by the rookies, I'm taking my notes now, right? He had a bit of a hamstring injury in minicamp, so that slowed him down a little bit. And right now, is the young guys are overstepping you. So you might be finding your way off this team. So to me, losers in this minicamp, coming out of minicamp, was Dane Jackson. Does he have the ability to come in and shine once training camp starts? Absolutely. But right now, not looking too good for my guy, Mr. Dane Jackson. I'm going to keep rolling. If I'm here, I'm going to keep rolling right now. Bale Inspector. I kind of touched on it earlier with Buffalo Joe coming in. Dorian, listen, we already know about Dorian Williams, and he's already solid as is. I think I'm a big fan of Dorian. And then you bring in Shaq Thompson on top of that. Bale Inspector, my guy. I don't know if this is looking good, right? Bernard, Milano, Dorian. There's your top three. Then you got Buffalo Joe. Then you got Shaq Thompson. If Shaq Thompson is what we think he is, healthy, he's one of the better linebackers in the game. So something tells me that this is where it's going to be. It's going to be Buffalo Joe's going to be taking those special team reps, and Shaq Thompson, if he makes his squad, they'll rely on him to kind of contribute on this defense. So I don't know about Bailey Spector, bro. Bailey Spector is right now is on the bubble. He's looking on his way out, not looking good. So those are the ones I see. I got one more on my list, but I'm gonna save it because that one's more of a controversial one.
Ooh, you can't do that to us.
Well, then let's get right into it. Let's go to the defensive tackle line. Let's go to the defensive line, and I'm gonna say it, Daquan Jones. Now, is he a loser in this? No, but could he be? Maybe, and I'll tell you why. You bring in Deion Walker. You didn't stop there. You draft TJ Sanders in the second round. Didn't stop there. Earlier, you brought in Larry Ogunjobi. Let me go further. And you have Dwayne Carter that was drafted just a year ago in the third round. So you've got guys that youth on the side. They're all young guys, all in that same positional group. Daquan is still penciled in as starter next to Ed Oliver. But if these guys come in and show that, hey, they are just as potent, just as good as Daquan Jones, and they're less expensive, I don't need to have a Daquan Jones that's costing me $5+ million. If I release or let him go, that's $5 million that I save. Now, I'm not saying go ahead and do that. I said it was controversial. So Daquan Jones in that trade candidate / cut candidate, based on how these guys perform, is huge. Now, the what's saving him, and I say this loosely here, what's saving him is the fact that Larry is on a suspension for 6 weeks. So what are you going to do? You can't just move on from Daquan. So that's what potentially has him saved up. But if TJ Sanders looks the part, Deion Walker looks the part, he was supposed to be a first-round draft pick, if not for his back injury. Then you got Ed Oliver. Then you got Dwayne Carter. Bam, that's a full room. That's a full room at the defensive tackle position. So Daquan, although has skin in the game, but you already know what this game is like. This game it's a young man's game. It's a young man's game. So if these guys show out and do what they're supposed to do, you could see a surprise cut in Daquan. But I like Daquan, so I think he stays in as a pencil starter. But that's going to be a storyline that you can pay attention, because think about it, man. 2 defensive players drafted at the same position in this very draft, and you brought in Larry Ogunjobi, and you have Dwayne Carter. I mean, come on, man. Let's talk about it. Let's be for real. He's 32, 33 years of age? I wouldn't be surprised if they said, you know what? Based on age, you got to go. I mean, Calais Campbell, he got the boot, and he was up there. It was just sometimes it's the money, the age, all that plays a factor. So controversial, but Daquan Jones might be one of those. Ooh, they could make a decision there. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I guess when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, with the amount of bodies added, there is going to have to be tough decisions made. But I do think that that's one more reason why I like what Brandon Beane did this offseason, because you want to be put in a position to have to make those tough decisions. If you do have to make a decision to get rid of a guy that you wouldn't have otherwise gotten rid of because of who you brought in, well, you put yourself in a good spot. Because if you hadn't have gone out and really went to the well as many times as Brandon Beane did, well, then you would be forced to have to go with a guy that is now in a situation where he could lose his job to one of these new bodies. So it's unfortunate, of course, for the player that ends up being the odd man out based on the newly added personnel, but it's the best possible situation for the Bills. They're in a position right now where they need the best out of every possible positional group on the defensive side of the ball. If it winds up coming down to these battles that are this close, but one guy edges it out over another, like I keep saying, it's all these little things that I think is going to culminate in the Bills taking a step forward on defense that's necessary. So, yeah, there could be guys that we're used to seeing on this roster that are the guys on the outside looking in, but that's the nature of the beast here, and I think it's a great situation the Bills have put themselves in. You'd much rather go into the year with options than kind of being hog-tied down onto sticking with guys that you wouldn't have otherwise if you did have a proper replacement available.
It's a fair point. So They invested a lot of assets into this defensive line. I mean, they've been doing it for years. This year was no different. They actually supercharged it. So one to really focus on and pay attention to. So, but those were the ones that stood out to me in terms of losers on the squad. I don't know if you're good with that list.
Totally good. Yeah, I think you covered a ton there. A lot of great insight, and there's certainly guys on there that could go either way. But that's what we're going to see on Hard Knocks and stuff, I guess, which I'm looking forward to. We're going to see the ins and outs of that, and I'm looking forward to see the solidified version of this Bills defense, what that looks like. How many of these rookies are going to get significant playing time? How many of these veterans are really going to be major factors on this defense? There's a lot to look forward to. This is why I keep coming back to the exciting aspect of this defense. It's not exciting in the sense that it's guaranteed to be better, but it's exciting because of the possibilities, where you have so many new guys, both young and old, that you can't help but sit back and say, hey, if X veteran added here winds up being an upgrade, if this rookie drafted here ends up being their guy of the future, both now and down the line, how much of an impact does that make? How much of a difference does that make? And if we couple that with the Bills offense finding a way to be as good, if not better than they were last year, well, then this is what it takes. The Bills are at a position right now, based on how this franchise has ascended to the top over the last couple of years, where it's just minor tweaks. And it might not seem like a whole lot, but the Bills scored 29 points against the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship.
Yep.
99 out of 100 times, that's going to be good enough to get it done, especially when you're playing a team that had not scored more than 30 all year long.
Isn't that crazy?
All you needed, Rico, in these games, and how many times has this happened to Buffalo, where it's just literally one play or it's one mistake? I mean, or it's just 1 inch, it's 1 yard. I mean, Rico, the list is endless in terms of examples that the Bills have been on the wrong side of. Can they add the guy? Can they get the most out of this guy? Whatever, to end up being the one play difference, the 1 inch difference or whatever that they haven't had. This is why I went back, and this is why I alluded to earlier in the offseason how critical I thought the 1 seed was. And I had a ton of people push back on that, saying, well, the Bills have been dominant in the wild card round. What does that matter? The Bills have beat up on bottom feeders in the wild card round, right? Rookie quarterbacks or backup quarterbacks. What does it matter?
Yep.
I understand that, but we don't know what it would matter because we haven't seen it. Like, we don't know what the impact would be. That's my whole thing here. The Bills are at a point now where you're just looking for any little thing to give them an advantage. Is it just a world of difference that the Bills won't have to play, I don't know, Mason Rudolph again in the wild card round, or a rookie in Bo Nix who, had a great year, but of course was not going to go into Buffalo and beat Josh Allen and the Bills in his first year in a playoff spot? Like, is it going to be this seismic difference? I don't know, but you can't tell me it wouldn't be at least a little bit of a difference. The Bills have not had a home AFC championship game. Nobody knows for certain how much of a difference that would be. Nobody knows how different the Bills-Chiefs AFC championship game would have been if it was in Buffalo. I had a lot of people say, well, we had the divisional game in Buffalo a couple of years ago. The Bills still lost. Yeah, the Bills were down to their B squad defensively. They were this close to winning the football game. And I understand that they did have the home field advantage in that situation. But the difference between the divisional round and the AFC championship, and I feel like only a Bills fan would be able to embody this perspective. I cannot begin to tell you what the environment at any game is insane. I don't care if it's a preseason game, week 1, divisional round. It's insane. My generation, most people right now, have never been to a game in Buffalo where if the Bills win, the following game will be the Super Bowl. Nobody has been to a game. Most people have not been to a game where if the Bills win that game, they are out on the field accepting the Lamar Hunt trophy. That has not happened. So you can't tell me that wouldn't be just a little bit more fuel to a fire that's been blazing for some time under Sean McDermott, Brandon Beane, and led by Josh Allen. It's the little things. So it doesn't seem like a whole lot, right? Is Elijah Moore that much better than Mac Hollins? Or is Josh Palmer that much better than Amari Cooper? Or whatever. Is this defense going to be that much better than it was last year? it doesn't have to be to the point where you're sitting back saying, oh my God, this Bills defense just turned into the 85 Bears, or oh my God, Elijah Moore looks like a 07 Randy Moss. It doesn't have to be that. We saw that last year. Offensive line, little bit better than they were the year before. James Cook, a lot better than the year before, right? Josh Allen, consistent, which is all he needs to be. It's just a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it all culminates together to result in what the Bills have been. They just have been missing a tweak here and a tweak there. Everybody knows this. This is why they've lost by the skin of their teeth so many times. And they've been trying to find themselves in a situation where they're on the opposite end of that. So there's so many factors here that I think could be those potential differences that could end up being the ultimate difference.
You're not the only one that's in that camp. There are a lot of analysts that are out there that are saying, fam, although the Bills haven't had success in the postseason to get over the hump to get the Super Bowl, they haven't lost that much. And when they do lose, it wasn't like, oh, blow this whole thing up. No, they haven't been into that blow this whole thing up. They've been retooling. They're right there, and they feel exactly how you feel. Just a couple little things that need to fall into our favor, and this team is not only going to the championship, they're going to be raising that Lamar Hunt trophy. So that plays a big part, and you're not the only one that feels that way. There's a lot of folks that are on that page that the Bills are so close, so freaking close, but yet far away, like everybody else. So that's why this upcoming NFL season is so crucial for a lot of teams, Bills included. You got the Ravens on a great amount of pressure on the Ravens. We'll talk about the Ravens a little bit as well, because all the pieces they've added were to the point where it's making people sick now. Hey, y'all have added all these Pro Bowlers on your squad. Like, are you gonna win it or what? Quit wasting people's time and all that stuff. So there's a lot of chatter happening, but everybody's they see it the way you see it too, Bot. They're close, man. Just a couple little things away, and we're there. But like, we do sound also, and I got to keep it a buck, like a broken mother effing record.
I know.
We're just a couple pieces away. Oh, we're just this. We're just that. Well, when is it going to happen? And that's the initial question. When is it going to happen? Y'all keep talking about how close you might be, and how close you are, and how close you could have been. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. When are you going to get it done?
Well, here's the reality, right? Here, the reality of the situation is that is true. The Bills are just this far away. I feel like there's really no disputing that. It's just the ability to do it. And have the Bills been able to do it? The answer is no. That doesn't mean you can't be optimistic about them getting themselves in position at a crack at trying to do it again. It all comes down to the amount of opportunities you get. If you play blackjack 10 times, you're going to win at least one hand. And if you don't, I mean, my God, never walk back into a casino again. You're going to win one hand. You could lose 9, but in all likelihood, you're going to win 1. You got to keep going back to the table. The Bills have what it takes to continue to go back to the table and rise up within that table to get to the high stakes game. They haven't been able to win that high stakes game. And I understand the frustration where it's been multiple years of being on the doorstep and just not being able to get it done. But would you rather have the ability to get to the doorstep, or would you rather just be sitting, on the outside looking in while everybody else is getting their crack at trying to break the door down? I've been waiting my whole life to at least get on the doorstep and knock on the door and hopefully get it within the door. They've been right at the door. There's no denying that. I don't know how you couldn't be excited about it. One team wins it at the end of the year. Are the Bills going to win it this year? Well, history would tell you no, right? But they've never had a better team in position to do it. And I know it's come up short numerous years in a row, but I am going to go into every year under Josh Allen with the idea in mind that the Bills have a chance to do it. I went 22 years of my life going into a season hoping that the Bills would show up on the In the Hunt graphic around week 15, sneak into a wild card spot so they could get embarrassed, and I could just be satisfied with the fact that I got to watch the Bills play in January. Those days are done. I'm going to enjoy them while I can and enjoy the opportunity to try and at least get to where everybody wants them to go, because it had been forever until they even had the chance. Right now, they're in position. And I know, like you just said, Rico, you said like, oh, it's always a little bit of this. It's always a little bit of that. That is, of course, the most frustrating thing, because we do sound like a broken record when we say, oh, it's just this, it's just that. The problem is we're not lying. We're not pulling it out of our ass. We'd be lying if we told you, man, the Bills are, a Grand Canyon gap away from winning it. That's a lie. The reality is the Bills are as close to winning. The Bills are closer to winning a Super Bowl than any other team has been since the Mahomes era, other than the Bengals, who went on that miracle run and got into position to try and beat the Rams in the Super Bowl. Like the Bills, in terms of winning percentage, in terms of the amount of wins under their belt, in terms of the amount of cracks that they've had, the Bengals have missed the playoffs multiple times, right? The Bengals have been an early exit, right? The Bills have been pretty much the team in the AFC to have given themselves the most amount of chances. That's why it's so frustrating, because it clearly is a broken record. All it takes, Rico, is that needle on that record to just skip back into place for a quick second, give us one clean spin around it, and it'll be the sweetest sound you've ever heard in your life.
It will be. And you know what? Videsh is saying this is the 90s all over again. And I'm sure in the 90s, that's what we were saying. We're this close. And this is what's disheartening a little bit, because history somewhat sounds the same. And my memory might be a little hazy because my brain wasn't fully developed at the time because I was still young. But for those that, were a little older to understand what was taking place and almost seeing the same thing repeat itself now, it does probably sound crazy, because if social media was the way it was like it is now, then there'd probably be two guys like you and I saying the same freaking things 30 years ago. Man, if it was just, we're so close. And they were literally that close. They went to the freaking thing. We're here. We're this close. Next year, we'll get them. That's why it's so sad. 4 years straight, you're this close and you never get it. So I can understand folks saying, hey, I don't want to hear nothing about you're so close. We've been so close. So for you to say we're so close, we're not, because we were really so close when we were in the championship. We were that close to lifting that thing up. We weren't there. So divisional round game, AFC championship game, I don't want to hear nothing. I could totally understand people saying, I don't want to hear a peep about so close. I'm sick of it. Somebody said it's starting to sound boring to hear, oh, we're so close. We've heard it before. Now it's the shit or get off the pot. And I mean, that's the beauty of sports, man. That's the beauty of sports, because every team is not the same as it was last year. This year, we could go in as the favorite in every game, but maybe things don't go the way we're supposed to. So it's just one of those things where it's like you're revisiting it. You're like, man, haven't we spoken about this before? Isn't this getting old? It does. It does. But you know what? It would be so sweet. How sweet it will be when we actually do punch the hole, right? Punch that door down, and like we actually do get it. So are we close? Yes. Essentially, we are. We're closer because we have a franchise quarterback. We haven't had a franchise quarterback in such a long time. So the fact that we have a franchise quarterback, you're always going to be freaking close. So we'll see how it all shakes out, man. At the end of the day, we'll see how it all shakes out. So Bills fans, bear with us. Bear with the team. We're there. We're close. It's just about it's got to get done. It's got to get done. And it takes every moving part to get this thing over the hump. So we'll see how it all shakes out in the end. But man, oh man, I can't wait till it does happen. Man, oh man.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin, he's saying here, we might get lucky. How many Super Bowl champions have gone the distance without a little luck? I mean, I think Philadelphia is a good example this last year. They won it. They didn't seem to get all that lucky. They won it wholeheartedly. They dominated. But I go back to the Chiefs Super Bowl victory. The Chiefs Super Bowl victory over the Brock Purdy-led Niners team. Do you remember the punt that went off the Niners kick returner's right toe, barely nicked his toe? Chiefs recovered in Niners territory. The game was never the same, or it wound up being the difference because that game
was the difference.
That game went to overtime, I believe, right? That game went to overtime. So that wound up being a massive difference. Julian Edelman, that one catch he had in the Super Bowl where it was like, how the hell did he come down? The way it bounced and it just fell right into his lap. I go back to the Seahawks when they made the Super Bowl and eventually lost to the Patriots on the Malcolm Butler interception.
Right. Let's go to the Giants Patriots game.
Helmet catch. Yeah, I mean, like, you do need some luck. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. The Bills haven't had a whole hell of a lot of luck. So, yeah, we might get lucky. Here's the thing. You got to be in position to get lucky. You have to be good enough to be in a spot to be able to get lucky. So, like I mentioned earlier, kind of the casino analogy. If you don't go to the casino, you have no chance of getting lucky. If you don't play the game, then you can't get lucky. And if you're not in a position to win the big one, like I know when you play slots, on the top of the slot, they always show you the max prize, but you can't win the max prize unless you're making the max bet. The Bills have been making the max bet every year. They're going for the ultimate prize. All it takes is one spin to go your way, Rico. So, yeah, we might get lucky because at the end of the day, in order to win the Super Bowl, more often than not, in addition to being a great team, you do need a dash of luck on your side.
You definitely do. And speaking of luck, look at Scott Norwood.
Yeah.
Right? Scott Norwood, wide right. I mean, if he just a little bit left, 6 inches.
Right. Like,
we're not even talking about it.
Bad luck for the Bills was great luck for the Giants, right?
Hey,
there's two ways to look at it.
Absolutely. 1,000%. So, I mean, listen, man, this is why we're here, brothers. This is what it is. By the way, we're just going to get a couple super chats in. I got my man, Richard Fresh comes in and says, hey, boys, I missed the alert, but we're in here bringing that SB60 vibe in the building tonight. Number 1 seed incoming. Don't sweat it, bot. Our monkeys will be moving. February 2026. Get that monkey moving. Get that monkey moving. Richie Fresh comes back and says, yo, I have to play devil's advocate here. Says, what's y'all breaking point? Right? Not saying give up being a fan, but assume we lose to you know who for the 5th time. What do you do? Well, listen, do sports fans have a breaking point?
No.
Like, you're always going to root for your squad regardless. I mean, the breaking point would have been us getting our asses beat 17 straight years by Tom Brady. Bro, I'm out. I'm not doing this no more, man. It doesn't seem like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but eventually we did, and we got our guy. So is there a breaking point? There's never a breaking point, in my opinion. It's just you just go with the motions. Right? Every team goes with emotions. You can never be a sustained franchise forever. The Patriots were a bunch of bums at one point until they got Brady, and then they're winners. And now we don't know where they're going to be. At one point, the Bills were bums back in the 80s, and we jumped up and we were a team again. And then from 90s, solid, and then we went, bro, there's valleys, peaks and valleys, right? So is there a breaking point? No. Unless you're not a true fan and you're like, yo, I'm jumping ship, there's your breaking point. But I just can't see it happening. What are your thoughts, Bot?
No disrespect, but in my opinion, if you have a breaking point with your team to where if this thing happens, you're no longer interested, you're no longer watching the games, you're no longer a fan, you're not a diehard fan. You might be a fan, you might enjoy watching them. If you have a breaking point where X happens and as a result, you're completely out, the way I see it, if you are sitting here right now, a lifelong Bills fan, still as invested as we are, after watching season after season where a 9-7 outcome would be bar none the best possible result, if you are still sitting here right now enjoying what Josh Allen has brought to the table, if you are still here, then another loss to the Chiefs cannot be your breaking point. Because if you weren't broken over the litany of dysfunction that existed within the Buffalo Bills franchise for nearly a quarter century, if you weren't broken by 4 consecutive Super Bowl losses, if you weren't broken by the Music City Miracle, then another loss to the Chiefs in the playoffs can't be what breaks you. It just can't be. If you made it this far and you're still as bought in as you've ever been, I hate to tell you whether you want to hear it or not, a breaking point doesn't exist for you. You might think it does. The game might end and you might be as done as you've ever been. I promise you, when the season rolls around the next year, you're going to be right back where you were. That's why being a diehard fan is both a gift and a curse. It's awesome because there's nothing like it. It's hard to describe to anybody who does not understand it. But for those same reasons, it's great. It's also awful. And one of the awful aspects about it is that every year, one team, one fan base walks away with their head held high, smiling with bragging rights. They're the only people on the planet excited about what just unfolded in that season. One team, one fan base. But if a breaking point exists, I promise you as a Bills fan, you would have hit it by now. And if you haven't, you're never going to hit it. And if you end up hitting it, I'd love to see what it wound up being to get you to that point. Because if it hasn't happened by now, I don't know how it could possibly get worse to a degree in which you would just hang up the jersey and say, I'm doing something else with my Sundays.
So, and great, solid point. You're right. To me, there is no breaking point. Once you're a team that's you're a fan of that team, that's it. That's your squad. There is no breaking point. You when the rain comes, get your umbrella out. And once the rain doesn't last forever, get it out again. And we're good to go. My man Walter says, yo, correct me if I'm wrong, Richie, but you're referring to more to front office with your breaking point comment and not the team itself. And I don't know if Richie has responded to that. But it's a fair question. I mean, is that the responsible? The breaking point, you go right to the management and say, wrap this up, get somebody else in here. Is that what he means by breaking point? Well, here's Richie comes in and says, how much though? Example, my brother-in-law is paying over $20,000 for a new stadium, but I don't go to occasional games. But the debate is, what's a diehard? I mean,
well, you can have that debate all year long, all you want. Richie, I'll tell you this right now. It's a Friday in June. You are sitting here amongst 1,000 other people listening to us and talking with others in the chat about the Buffalo Bills. You are a diehard Buffalo Bills fan. It is June, and on a Friday night, you are watching a Buffalo Bills stream talking about the Buffalo Bills with the gang. Whether you're going to every game or not is irrelevant. You are a diehard fan, and you know it. Only you know whether you are or you aren't. Are there multiple ways to express that? Yes, go into all the games or whatever. Yeah, you can approach it differently. But Rico lives in Nova Scotia, right? I no longer live an hour away from the stadium. You can't get to every game. Tons of Bills fans don't even live in New York, can't get to every game. So that doesn't mean you're not a fan. I'm telling you right now, you know if you are or you aren't. Every single person in here right now, unequivocally, is a diehard Buffalo Bills fan. If you weren't, you would not be watching Rico and Bot on a Friday in June. I can promise you that.
There are fans that start being a Bills fan first week of September when the first game starts, and then the minute the Bills are out, they shut it off. You're still a fan of the team, but you're not diehard. Diehard is you are 24/7, 365. What's the next? What's going on? Who said what? What articles? That's bro. You're here in June where there's nothing going on, bro. You a diehard. You a diehard. You a diehard, baby. And it's not gonna change. I can do everything I can possible to try to get you out of that. You wouldn't, because it's in you. It's in you, baby. This is what it is, man. It's what it is. So that being said, though, we got a long offseason, folks. We got a long offseason. We're gonna have lots of Bills chatter to go about. I can tell you that. And we're all diehards in this beat right now. I do want to switch the tone a little bit there. Bot, I gotta ask you something.
Yeah.
We're gonna move over to Cincinnati. Shamar Stewart. I never got your thoughts on Shamar Stewart. Shamar Stewart, draft pick for the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals have put language in Shamar Stewart's contract that apparently it's language that if he has conduct off the field, they have the ability to release, take money away, et cetera, et cetera. And Shamar Stewart's like, I ain't signing no dice. Your thoughts on players exercising the right not to sign that contract and saying, no, until you take it out, I ain't signing anything. And I'll go back to the draft if I need to. And you guys have just wasted a draft pick. What are your thoughts on Shamar Stewart and the Cincinnati Bengals just seemingly not being able to get something in order? And it seems like the Cincinnati Bengals are known for this. I mean, they have one of their best players right now unsigned, and they're miles apart on a contract. So Hendrickson not being signed on the squad, two defensive key pieces that should be helping this defense, not signed. Cincinnati in the wrong here, or is, in this case, Shamar Stewart in the wrong?
We live in a completely different era. And if you are an organization, might be one of the worst times to be running one in terms of financials, in terms of getting players under contract. If you are a player, it might be the best time ever to be a professional athlete, because now when you're in college, you can make crazy money. You no longer go to professional sports relying on the income from that to be the sole opportunity you get to make money from all your hard work that led up to that point. So we're in a whole different era now when it comes to these contracts, especially with guys coming from college into the NFL. I'm not particularly aware of Shamar Stewart's NIL pay. I don't know how high or high low or whatever it was. I don't know how much he made. But the point is irrelevant in terms of him looking at his contract, not liking the language of it, and not being willing to sign up for it until things within the contract language change. This is what these guys have worked for their whole life. This is their opportunity, and this is their career with everything riding on it. And if there's something within the contract or something about the situation that is bad enough to the point where you're not willing to sign away on it, then by all means, don't do it. You're only going to get one crack at this. I look at the Bengals situation and then I compare it, or I look at what the Bengals have done historically, and then I look at the Shamar Stewart situation, and it makes it even more understandable from the perspective of Shamar Stewart. He's looking at the contract language. He doesn't love it. He's looking to get it changed, and it doesn't seem like the Bengals are willing to do it. Well, no surprise there. The Bengals are very rarely willing to do what their players want them to do in terms of contracts. How long did it take for maybe the best receiver in the entire NFL to get the money he was worth in Jamar Chase? A while. How long did it take for his counterpart in T. Higgins to get the money he felt he was owed? Had to get franchise tagged, got tagged again until they finally realized, all right, we're just going to pay him. Yep. Trey Hendrickson. What more could you possibly do at the position to earn a maximum contract than lead the league in sacks? Yet somehow we're about to head into July and that deal is still not done. I bet you 98% of the league would have had a contract written up and signed by Trey Hendrickson by now. This, unfortunately, seems to be a recurring theme for Cincinnati. And I saw something earlier this week where, as of right now, out of all 32 NFL teams, the Cincinnati Bengals are considered to be the least valuable franchise in the NFL. I don't know what that's based on. Yes, I don't know if that's based on location or what. I really don't know. But I saw that of all 32 teams, they were on that list. And I couldn't help but wonder if that's because of the ownership's inability to make deals in a way that other organizations seem to do routinely. Because time and time again, or at least recently here, it's just felt like the Bengals have been a topic of conversation when it comes to their best players and the contracts being put on the table. How could it be this big of an issue time and time again, unless you look in the mirror and realize that there's one common thread amongst all these issues, and that's the organization themselves? I look at the Dallas Cowboys all the time. How often does Dallas wait and wait and wait to pay a guy? Then they end up paying the guy, and it winds up being far more than it would have been had they had just paid the guy when he wanted to get paid or when it was deservingly so. You look at Dak Prescott, $60 million a year. They waited to the last possible second to pay him. You're looking at Micah Parsons here. Why is Micah Parsons not under contract? Why is Micah Parsons not under a second contract already by the Dallas Cowboys? He's arguably the best defensive player in the league. They're not going to sign him? No, of course they're going to sign him. So why isn't it done already? Because the longer they wait, the more money it's going to be. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand how some of these organizations operate. And this particular situation in particular, as it pertains to Shamar Stewart, it's not that it's just the contract language in mind. If I'm him, I also look at the historical issues the Bengals have had when it comes to contracts. So if I pair the language and my disliking of it with those other factors, I might be more obligated to not willingly sign up. However, if it was a different organization, maybe they had that language in there, but there wasn't the track record like the Bengals had. I don't know. Maybe it would be different, but it's not like the Bengals are well known for taking care of their guys at the highest level. So among everything else, though, Rico, Bengals aside, I still think that this era of players is going to usher in a whole new era of financials. I don't think we're ever going to be able to look at rookie contracts the same because these guys no longer value the NFL money the way they once did, because a lot of these guys, especially first round draft picks, have been making NFL-style money before they even enter the draft.
I hear that. I do hear that. And I you got a bit of a pushback from my man Walter. What up, Walt? He goes, Z-Bot, I got to push back a little bit, man. The Bengals in the last 2 years have set the market at quarterback, receiver 1, and receiver 2. And now, if they get close enough, I'll say if, he didn't say that, but if, because it doesn't sound like they are, but if they get close enough to setting it with Hendrickson, what other team is paying like that? Now, what are your thoughts on what Walter is saying? Because he's essentially saying, well, hold on, you can't call them a bum of a franchise because they're paying top dollar to their key players. Now, one might say, well, is that smart how they're doing business, conducting business? Because you've essentially put 40% of your cap in 3 players. So, of course, you're gonna find yourself in situations like this. So what say you on, hold on, well, they're paying players. So is it really Cincinnati's issue? They are paying. So what's the problem here?
Well, this isn't a new issue for Cincinnati. I remember back during Carson Palmer's heyday, didn't Carson Palmer say he'd rather retire at one point in his career than continue to play for the Cincinnati Bengals? At the ending stages of his time in Cincinnati, I believe that's what it boiled down to. Now, Joe Burrow is a top 4 quarterback in this league, and Cincinnati wasn't particularly relevant, at least to the extent that they are now, until he came along. The Bengals did not build an indoor practice facility until Joe Burrow became the quarterback of the franchise. I don't know if you've been to Cincinnati anytime recently, but it's more similar to Buffalo weather than it is LA weather. It's not a city where you want to rely on practicing outdoors 24/7. It's a cold state. Ohio is a cold state. Yep. And it took them until Joe Burrow being the quarterback. It took them to them getting into the Super Bowl for them to come around to building an indoor practice facility. I understand what Walt's saying. Was there struggles to getting to the point where they paid Chase and T. Higgins? Yes. But did they end up paying him? Yes. Did they pay Burrow? Yes. I get all that. But the counter would be, what are you not supposed to? Why are we patting Cincinnati on the back for doing what every other team would do? Every other team would have done exactly that. The Trey Hendrickson situation, trade him if you're not going to pay him. I don't understand it. What more is he supposed to do? He's in the right 100% here. Why would he settle for less when that defense was the sole reason why maybe the best offense in the league last year didn't even get a chance to compete in the playoffs because they didn't make it? So this defense is as inferior as it is, yet Cincinnati's willing to hang their best player, potentially the best pass rusher in the league in terms of at least the statistics. They're willing to hang him in the balance without anything to overcome what could potentially be his loss. I get what you're saying, but it just feels like Cincinnati makes these issues far more notable and far more problematic than they need to be, even though they have resulted in positive outcomes for the players in those situations. We'll see what happens with Trey Hendrickson, but I don't know. I just don't think that that's what you want to be known for. You don't want to be known as the organization that's holding your best players in the balance when clearly they have earned the money that they are requesting. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Well, I'm gonna say this: the Cincinnati Bengals right now, and I'm gonna put this question out there: are they wrong? Are the Bengals wrong in this case, Shamar Stewart? And they're both not wrong. I'll put it that way: they're both not wrong, or they're both right. Right? But somebody has to give. The question is who's going to give and who should give. You got Shamar Stewart on one end saying, hold on, you didn't do it the year before, you didn't do it the year before that, and the year before that, to try to change up a contract. All of a sudden, I get to the team and you want to start, acting brand new? No. Honor what you guys have been doing forever. You're not about to change things with me. Not happening. Bengals, on the other hand, is saying, well, this ain't new. There's all these sorts of language and contracts for all these rookies that we draft. So you're no different than anybody else, bro. So you're going to sign this contract. No, you're going to follow precedent. You didn't do it last year. You're not about to do it this year with me. So no, pay me the same way you paid him. You're not about to take money out of my pocket. So are the Bengals wrong for this? So I don't know how they do these things, whether they have, hey, man, if we're going to sign you, by the way, or if we're going to draft you. And it's so tough to do these things. They got to start saying it now. By the way, if we sign y'all, this is what's happening. So Just be ready for it because we're not going to do this holdout business. So in this case, bro, Bengals, you brought him onto the squad, pay him accordingly, and then you can start your I guess your way of doing business next year. Because Shamar Stewart's in the right. You can't give me less money just because you decided to change it up this year. Nah, but that's not the way it works. But I own this team. This is my squad. You want to play for me? This is what you got to do. So it's so tough to see who's in the wrong. But like Bengals, you don't look good in the end because now you have the Trey Hendrickson situation and now you have this rookie situation. You guys look bad in the light. So something's got to give. So the real question is, who gives in? Who should give in? The player or the team? And in this case, it's really going to come down to, bro, do you want to play this game? And are you worried about something? They're going to pay you. It's just that if you screw up, that's when I take your money. So be on the up and up. Be on the up and up. But I mean, things happen. So I guess you can say, well, I don't know what's going to take place. Something might take place and something, I don't know, something happens and it messes up my money. Well, then that's why you signed this contract. But on the other hand, bro, treat me the same way you treat everybody else. You're not about to do this to me. So like, it's so tough. I want to know what the chat's feeling. Who's in the wrong here? Are the Bengals in the wrong or is the player in the wrong? And who has to give in? That's the real question. Who caves? Does the player cave or the team cave? But in this Shamar Stewart case, should he cave and just sign it and say, hey, listen, I've worked my tail off for this career. I don't want to not be able to not play. I want to be able to play on this squad. Or is it the team? Who should cave?
It's interesting because previous contracts did not feature the problematic language that Shamar Stewart is unhappy with. However, this past draft, Gray Zabel and Walter Nolan both signed contracts that had the exact same language within the Shamar Stewart contract. And those two players were high first-round draft picks. So it's not like he's getting asked to sign this unprecedented contract, but at the same time, it's not like he's asking for some absurdly different contract compared to contracts from previous years as they pertain to first-round draft picks. So then you get into this question, right? Like who should blink first, essentially. I look at it, both parties here risk losing a lot, right? The Bengals risk losing a first-round draft pick. And no matter how you shape that, that's a huge loss, right? That's a huge loss because we know how rare it is to get those cracks in the first round to try and get difference makers that are going to be the foundation of your team. But if we're looking at Shamar Stewart's situation, we also know how rare it is to be a first-round draft pick. And if he decides not to sign this contract and re-enter the draft, can guarantee you he's probably not going to be a first-round draft pick again. A year without being drafted.
Was it a second-round draft pick, I believe?
Shamar Stewart?
It doesn't matter. But you're right, though. It could alter his draft position for next year. You just never know. I think it was a second-round draft pick.
Well, it would 100. No, he was drafted 17th overall.
Was he? Then I forget.
Yeah, he's a first-round draft pick.
Okay.
I bet you if he enters the draft next year, I would imagine it's unlikely he's a first-round draft pick again. And so is it worth risking probably significantly less pay over this contract language? What exactly is the language that I'm trying to understand what the big issue is here? Because clearly it's got to be an issue enough to where he's willing to not sign it, right?
Yeah, I think he's had off-field issues, I think. And the Bengals are like, all right, with these off-field issues, bro, let me put that in there just in case you decide to, rob us of our money. You might turn into be a Ray Caruth for crying out loud. Yeah, I want to recoup my money, right? And I'm going extreme here with the Ray Caruth, by the way. But we want to recoup our money. Too often there are some players that violate contract, but because they were guaranteed, it's a wrap. I mean, let's go to Justin Blackmon, right? The receiver that got drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars. That brother got paid, guaranteed his money, and what a disaster, man. But he got his money. He got his money's worth, right? So these guys have to figure their way out. In my opinion, team is in the wrong. pay your player, and away you go. You drafted him. You drafted him, man. You knew that he had character concerns, so you tried to sneak in some language in there that you've never done in the past. So his lawyers or his agent caught it. Can't do that. You didn't do it. You've never done it before. You ain't gonna start with my client. No way. Take it out, and we got ourselves a deal. It's a tough one. It's a tough one for me, but I'm gonna side with the player on this one. And typically I wouldn't, but I'm gonna side with the player on this one and say, hey man, Cincy, you may square up, because you're not even squaring up with your all-time defensive end right now. And now you're playing this game. It's just a bad look for one of them. So something's got to give. And he's standing on business. He's standing on business, man. He doesn't care. So it's a tough one for me, man. It's a tough one.
From what I'm reading, the Bengals have introduced contract language that would allow them to potentially void guaranteed money at later dates. Now, this isn't anything new. This has been within contract language for first-round draft picks with other teams for a while now. I guess the problem here is this is the first time the Bengals have tried to do it.
Right.
And like you were just alluding to, it looks like Shamar Stewart doesn't want to be the guinea pig. Now, where you side with the player, and I 100% understand that, I also have to look at it and say that I think at the end of the day, the Bengals will still survive without a first-round draft pick. They'll still be the Bengals, and they'll still have an unbelievable offense and an MVP caliber quarterback, and they'll always have a potential to compete in the AFC while Burrow's around. Will Shamar Stewart be a first-round draft pick if he re-enters the draft? Will Shamar Stewart be a first-round caliber player to the point where he ends up getting a crazy amount of money? Like, could this be the best chance he'll ever have? This is where I look at it from Stewart's perspective, where you might want different language and you might want to have money guaranteed that might not be guaranteed based on the language. But am I risking too much here for a minimal return? Yeah, I want to maximize my opportunity, but am I diminishing the entire opportunity in pursuit of a little bit more? At the end of the day, it's not whether who's right or who's wrong here. I think it comes down to who has more to lose. I think Shamar Stewart's probably got more to lose here. And that's why, whether it's right or wrong, I'd probably be more willing to sign if I'm him than I would be to go back on what I'm trying to do if I'm Cincinnati, just because it could be argued that the Bengals have the leverage here. Yes, they'll lose their first-round draft pick, but life goes on. Does life go on for Shamar Stewart if he decides to re-enter the draft? Or at least does it go on to the same drum that it's currently on right now? And I think you could argue no.
And I want to retract what I said about off-field issues. It turns out he does not have any off-field issues. It's just all contract-based, like you just said. That being said, though, here's the other side. The Bengals your team didn't make the playoffs, not because of Burrow's inability to get his team on track. Your defense couldn't hold up. Your defense was absolute garbage. So now you have two potential game-changing players that could really come in and help your team, being Trey Hendrickson coming back and having another defensive player on your squad to help you, and you messing up the bag right now. So you're about to go into a position of having this defense be an hindrance to you again because y'all can't get your act together. Bro, it's not a good look for the Bengals. The Bengals got to figure it out. They got to figure it out because your fan base is going to be like, bro, you drafted the guy, pay this guy so let's get this defense back to going. We're sick and tired of hearing about Lamar Jackson. We're sick and tired of hearing about Josh Allen. We're sick and tired of hearing Pat Mahomes. Bro, their defenses are helping these guys get into it. Stop messing this game up. We just paid big time money to two receivers and our quarterback. 40% of our salaries in these three guys, but at least help us out on the defensive side because that's what's going to bury these guys again. That organization, they're messing up right now. They're messing up. Get it together, fellas. Get it together because you're going to have you're going to have that fan base on your tail yet again, which is going to be sad.
You know, it's interesting because I don't think this will be the last time we see something like this. I just looked it up, and apparently Shamar Stewart earned about $4 million during his time playing college ball. So you look at just a handful of years ago, that same player would have made $0. I don't know about you, Rico, but I don't have $4 million in the bank. And if I did, I'd probably feel a hell of a lot more confident making financial moves than I would if I didn't have that money in the bank and I was really relying on getting that type of money in the bank.
Right.
Right.
Here's the other side, though. I want to play ball. I worked my tail off. I want to play ball. So just move on from this little contract stuff and let's get this thing going, man. I'm motivated to play ball, but yo, this contract's in the way. My man Mike says, yo, Z-Bot and Rico, y'all are missing the point about Shamar. Y'all are missing the main point that Shamar does not want to be the guy that breaks the precedent and put his future teammates, peers in a worse position. I don't think he gives a damn about his future teammates. He's talking about his dollar banks. He's talking about his bank account, his future teammates, all that. No, he's talking about me right now. But we do get the point because it's not anything legal. It's more so contract, and it's money that's going to be trying to get out of his pocket. He's like, no, I want every red cent coming my way, and you're not about to mess with that. So no thanks. And that's the way I look at it. And Shamar Stewart, I guess hang on tight, or do you break? At what point do I can't see his teammates getting, hey man, just sign the contract, bro. We need you, bro. I can't see anybody doing that. Business is business. Get the business out of the way first, and let's play ball. We'll see.
Yeah. I don't think he's in any position to do a noble act for future teammates. I mean, this is the only crack you have. While that might be a noble move,
yeah,
you could certainly argue it's a foolish move if that's the way he's operating here. Because eventually, if Cincinnati's trying to incorporate this language, somebody's going to be willing to do it eventually. And it's not like they're doing something unprecedented. Like I had mentioned, this seems to be language that has been adopted by other teams for a while now here.
Yep.
And it hasn't seemed to be an issue up until now, at least that I know of. It just feels like he's risking a lot here. At the end of the day, Rico, wouldn't you not be stunned if there wasn't pen to paper at some point here? I mean, the idea of him going back into the draft seems very unlikely to me.
It seems unlikely. It's just a matter of they might tweak it just a little bit where he's happy and they're happy. And I mean, listen, I've been in sales for years. When both parties are not that great and not that happy, that means it's a fair deal. So they're going to have to try to find somewhere where it's in the middle for both. But yeah, you got to get it done, man. You guys are in the AFC North. You're in the AFC Conference. Like, there's no time. It's the margin for error is so small in let alone the conference, but your division. You need every piece you need. You need every piece to get over the hump. And right now, you're coming off of a season you just missed the playoffs because your poorish defense. It wasn't because of your offense. It was your freaking defense. Get it together. Get it together, Bengals fans, man. So anyway, that's what it is, man. I just want to get your thoughts on that. And I want to stay in the AFC North. And we got some things to talk about that. But before we do, we got a special little something for my guy Jeff Kinger.
The Kinger.
Doubt about it. My guy Jeff King just showed me some love. He's got no words. All he's pretty much saying is, fellas, I'm reading his facial expression in that avatar of his. Fellas, keep grinding, do what you do. Here's a little something to keep you guys motivated. Salute to y'all. I'm about to go to bed. I might listen for a little bit, and then I'll catch the show tomorrow in full. But I appreciate that, Jeff King. We appreciate it. And we'll see you in October, my G. We'll see you in October.
Yes, we will. Jeff King, the legend. And it's not October. It's September. We'll see him even sooner.
Yeah, I'm way ahead of the Listen, man. My bad. Week 3, baby. We'll see you.
I'm counting down the days. I cannot wait, Jeffrey King. Appreciate you as always, my friend, and really cannot wait to be live and in action for some Buffalo Bills football, man. That is going to be unreal.
Let's get into another topic here, and I need your thoughts on this. I'm trying to word. How am I going to word this out? You know what? Let's get into it. Shadur Sanders. Sanders was clocked going 100 miles an hour in a 30 zone. I'm not sure exactly what it was. I got to find out the language. When you have a guy as controversial as prominent as Shadur Sanders' name is and who he is, wouldn't you try to stay off the radar until you can get the job? Like, you earn the job. You're not a first round. You're a first round draft pick. You have the ability to say, hey, he's our first round draft pick, but you're a 5th round draft pick. And they did it for whatever reasons you can think of, but you were not their first option, nor their 2nd, 3rd, 4th. You were their 5th option. right? Coming out of that draft. And they drafted a quarterback ahead of you. Bro, you cannot give teams like the Browns an opportunity to move on from you because of off-field silliness. Not once, apparently, but twice. Shadur Sanders, bro, get it together, my guy. Bro, you have a grand opportunity to shake things up. Yes, you were disrespected. They put you through the mud, but you've kept your smile up. You've done everything you're supposed to do on the field, and then you do this stuff off the field. That's an easy way off this team for a silly reason. Get it together, young buck. Your dad is. I'm hoping your dad is in your ear chewing your ass out. But fam, Shadur's got a grand opportunity, and he's throwing it away. Your thoughts? Shadur just being reckless. That's what it comes down to.
Man, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, man. Shame on me. You cannot get caught, or you cannot put yourself in positions, the better way to put it. You cannot put yourself in position to get 2 speeding tickets the way that he wound up getting them. It wasn't like he was going 10 over, right? It wasn't like he was going just a notch over what would be the acceptable speed. Shadur Sanders' first ticket, he was clocked going 91 and a 65. So that's 26 miles per hour over the speed limit. In New York, the throughways are all 65. If you're going 65 or if you're going 75, you're probably fine. 80, you're really pushing it. You start hitting the 90s anywhere but the Autobahn, not only are you being reckless, but you're putting yourself and others in an awful spot. Say you do it, you get caught, you pulled over, you get a ticket. Is that not the ultimate? Yeah, I mean, I can't be doing this. Not only am I putting myself in danger, others in danger, being reckless, but I am a massive public figure. This is going to be a story. This should be a lesson learned, and I'll move on.
Yep.
To double down and do it again. The second time, he was going 101 miles per hour in a 60, 41 miles per hour over the speed limit. The second time around. So the second time he gets ticketed, he was going even faster than the first time. Being Shadur Sanders right now, and this is what kills me about these situations, when you are as public of a figure as Shadur Sanders is, you have got to operate under a different set of circumstances, a different set of laws. There are so many benefits to being Shadur Sanders. Unfortunately, there are negatives too. And one of the negatives is everything you do is going to be overanalyzed to death and scrutinized to the point of exhaustion.
Yeah.
You are also coming off of one of the most polarizing drafts of all time. The Shadur Sanders fall in the draft will have a 30 for 30 made about it eventually, whether he ends up being Canton bound or he ends up being a generational backup. There will be a 30 for 30 made about Shadur Sanders' fall in the 2025 NFL draft. Right now, Shadur Sanders is the most talked about 5th round draft pick in the history of the entire existence of the NFL. The last thing you need to do right now is add additional controversy to what has already been an insanely controversial offseason here for you. We've talked about it. He gets his jersey retired at Colorado. A lot of people were scratching their head about that. Goes into the draft, surely going to be a 1st round pick. Falls, going to be a second round pick. Continues to fall. Now you go from being the man to being the guy who has to prove that you are the man. And he's certainly going to get an opportunity to do that. And if he proves it, I mean, can you think of a better story than being a generational fall in the draft, becoming everything that you thought you were, and what you end up backing up exactly what you took to the table. You thought you were a 1st round draft pick. You thought you were a top pick.
Yep.
You weren't. You go out and show everybody that they were dead wrong, wronger than anyone's ever been before. Everything he's like, his current circumstance is under a magnifying glass more than anyone else in his position's ever been. To do this twice is crazy to me. You don't want to give everybody else continued reason to just come at you. Because whether you love Shadur Sanders or not, like at the end of the day, he really hasn't done anything wrong. Yeah, is he very confident, right? Are him and Dion more vocal than most? Yeah. Did they really seem to kind of miss the mark on where they thought they were at in terms of draft stock and where it ended up being? Sure. But has Shadur Sanders really done anything wrong? No. The spot that he's currently in does not allow him to do anything wrong, because
Absolutely not.
that situation, Rico, has put him under so much public scrutiny that any additional ammo you add to the people that wound up bringing about the fall in the draft, they're just going to continue to hammer on it. So I can't get over putting yourself in this situation twice, Rico.
Twice, man. Like you said, shame. Like, what is it? Shame on me, shame on you. Like all that. You know better. At the end of the day, you know better. You know who your father is. You know how hard it's taking you to get here. Don't throw it away by some nonsense. Like, don't throw it away. I mean, I just looked at it because like sometimes I gotta convert to know how fast 100 miles an hour is into kilometers, because normal people use kilometers and not miles. So 160 kilometers in pretty much 100 zone. Bro, where are you going? Where are you going? And if you're going home, shame on you. Bro, it doesn't matter. Where are you going? Like, these things hit home, man. These things hit home. I mean, pay attention to players like Henry Ruggs, right? Pay attention, because those things can end fatally. Bro, wake up. I hope this is a wake-up call. And the worst part is it's the second time. Yo, wake up, big fella. Because right now, you're going to let your opportunity slip between your hands, and not anybody else's fault but your fault. Get it together, young buck. You know better. You know better. At the end of the day, you freaking know better, man. So Shadur Sanders clocked at 100 miles an hour, bro. You're tripping, bro. You're tripping. But I want to stay on the topic of speeding and so on and so forth. And this is a controversial question. And before I get into it, I want to know your thoughts. All right. So, second chances. How do you feel about second chances? Does everybody deserve a second chance? Generally.
Yeah, unless we're talking about major outliers, then yeah, everybody deserves a second chance.
Second chance. I think it's important for people to learn from their mistakes and redeem themselves. And second opportunities usually can end up in great stories. I was terrible. I messed up with my lifetime, whether it was in a relationship, whether, school, where you messed up somewhere, or a job, or whatever the case is, right? Criminally, I sold drugs and I turned my life around. I've heard so many testimonies and stories always, but this one here, Henry Ruggs, former Raiders receiver, speeding and got into a fatal accident. Well, caused a fatal accident, shall I say, where a young woman passed. Obviously, did jail time, got out early, I believe, for good behavior, whatever the case may be. So right now, conversation out there is, should he be given another opportunity to pursue a career in the NFL? I believe he's still young. I think he's still in his 20s. I think. I'm not sure. I can always look it up. What are your thoughts on second opportunities, but second opportunities in particular for this individual? Should he have an opportunity to pursue a career in the NFL? And keep this in mind. He served time. It's not like he didn't serve time. Now, did he serve full time? No, but I mean, everybody's got certain reasons as to why they get out of prison, good behavior, whatever the case is. It's not like he didn't serve time and did not have repercussions for his actions, right? Some might say, hey, he got off too soft. Some might say he served the right time. However you want to look at it. But a second opportunity in the NFL, should he receive that opportunity? What's your opinion on this one? It's a tough one. What do you got?
I don't know if I'm in any position to rule on whether or not he deserves a second opportunity, but what I can say is, who hasn't gotten a second opportunity really when it's come to the NFL? Michael Vick, second opportunity. Deshaun Watson, the most guaranteed money ever in an NFL contract after all of the allegations placed upon him. Still got that money. There's a laundry list of other examples, those two being very prominent, none, of course, being more prominent than the Michael Vick situation. Whether he deserves it is one thing, and I think you could argue it till you're blue in the face. Some people would say yes, some people would say no. When looking at it from the NFL perspective, the answer would more than likely be yes, because time and time again, when players have put themselves in circumstances where this question is even asked, the answer has more than often been yes. The difference here is that Deshaun Watson, up until that point, was considered to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Michael Vick, still to this day, one of the most dynamic quarterbacks we've ever seen in the league. And I think teams are willing to take risks on the public image being shattered, or at least tainted to some degree, in pursuit of getting top caliber talent. That just seems to be the reality. Is Henry Ruggs going to be a guy that organizations look at as a player that would be worth taking on that public scrutiny for? Because that seems to be what it often comes down to for these teams. I mean, if you are a player that is, middle of the pack on a roster and something as horrific as this situation occurs, more than likely you're not going to be given that second chance. So I don't think it really comes down to whether or not you deserve it or whether you should be given it. It really all comes down to how a team values you as a player and whether or not they're willing to take the backlash to have you on their roster. And we've seen a ton throughout NFL history that teams have been willing to do that. But we've also seen other situations as well where unproven guys or lesser talented guys or just lesser important guys, I should say, to the overall makeup of a team have not been given that chance, at least by the organization that drafted them, because they just felt it wasn't worth signing up for. In terms of a second chance, look, this is a young kid who did something horrific. But at the end of the day, he's still got a long life to live, and you can't sit here and say that he's not going to ever be allowed to try to reincorporate himself within society. I guess the question all comes down to, should this guy be allowed to go and be a major or highly paid, visible athlete, I guess is the question, right? I don't think anybody would have a problem if somebody did something as horrific as this and then went about their life, as status quo, working a normal job and just kind of being, an average Joe to some degree. Yep, I think where it really gets into the weeds, Rico, is people having trouble with a guy who did something as horrific as he did and then being able to come waltz out and be a multimillionaire athlete again. I think that's where the moral issue comes into play. And I 100% understand that. And then you have to look at it from the perspective of those directly impacted by that as well. I mean, how would you feel? I don't know. There's a million different ways to look at it. I think second chances can be looked at differently. Should you be allowed a second chance to reincorporate yourself into society and live a normal life? I think most people would say yes. Should you be allowed to reap the rewards of being a multi-millionaire athlete playing on the world stage each and every week? And I think that's where you get into the weeds in terms of how people weigh what a second chance really is. Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, I think it all comes down to an organization's willingness to take on that risk. And it's not, like I said, I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate. I don't know what it is. It just seems to be the nature of the beast. That is what has happened historically throughout the league.
It's funny because I'm a big proponent on second opportunities. Huge. I'm on that because with second opportunities, you have an ability to share your story. You have an ability to touch people's lives that, hey, I once was in your position. I learned my lesson. I have sleepless nights. I'm sick to my stomach as to what took place. And you mentioned something that was very interesting. Whether a team decides to take a chance on him, because that's what it comes down to. Will a team take a chance on this individual, right? And does he have the right to jump in and play the NFL again? If he's good enough to be employed, why not? I don't see why not. Now, nobody's defending what he's done. Not at all. This is about second opportunities. And to me, I look at it as not only him getting opportunity to make money, that's secondary, but it's more so whose lives can you affect and change. Michael Vick, prime example, right? Mike Vick did something where he thought it was normal, whether you want to believe him or not. Point is, he paid the price And there are a lot of animal lovers that are probably in this chat right now that were really affected by that. They hated that and wanted nothing to do with this individual. But you can see how he's turned his life around based on that major mistake, right? Mike Vick, Josh Gordon, the amount of opportunities that brother got to really apply himself, but he just never really took the reins of it, right? Second chance, third chance, fourth chance. It comes into it. Alden Smith, Ray Rice never got his opportunity because that was just at that point, it was like, nah, we're not touching that. That's over with. Kareem Hunt, Randy Gregory. So Hendricks does have an opportunity to get another opportunity to play in this game. I think he should, if a team is willing enough to do it. Now, question is, does he still got it? All that good stuff. That's a whole nother ballgame. But to get a second opportunity, I think he should. He's still young, where he can still affect a lot of other people around. So big on him to obviously reform his life, change his abilities, and hopefully the team gives him a shot. But if it doesn't happen, it should not stop him from changing people's lives by having conversations and going to speak to places. I mean, look, Shadur Sanders should be freaking the first one he goes talk to. Bro, chill out, Shadur. You're tripping right now. So I see it as a big opportunity. Second chances is big because you have a big opportunity to change lives after the fact. So I think that's big. I'm big on that in that regard. So we'll see what happens with Henry Ruggs, or we never hear him again. We never hear of that name again. No teams even bother touching that, and they go from there. So we shall see. We shall see. But we shall see. I don't know if you got any other topics you want to hit, my brother.
Yeah, so currently I am getting absolutely cooked. I am getting roasted over an open fire because I went nuclear on my response to the Madden 26 team ratings that came out from the beta version of the game.
Man said he's getting cooked.
I'm getting cooked. My mentions right now are on fire. Right now I have 16.
What did you say?
I didn't think I said anything that crazy. I basically went on and said
I gotta look it up.
I said that we needed, I was joking. I said we need to investigate the Madden ratings team. Because
I thought it was hilarious. I saw that actually.
Yeah, and everybody right now is like, yeah, get that engagement, brother. Here, newsflash, okay? Newsflash for people who think that people are making just retirement level money on Twitter. I've gotten a payout from Twitter before. I think it was for a full year, and it was $22. If you think I'm on Twitter, if you think I'm on Twitter trying to cash a check, I hate to break it to you, but it couldn't be further from the truth because there's no check to cash. I'm pretty sure the amount was so low that I had to wait the next year to even take it out because there's a certain level you have to hit in order to even be able to cash it out. I love that response. Everybody's like, get that engagement. Yeah. Pay for clicks. Yeah. You know me, man. Every time you click on this, they're giving me $100. This post alone already, I'd be shocked, Rico, if you ever heard from me again. I'm going to be retiring in the Cayman Islands.
I got to go look this up.
I'm going to retire in the Cayman Islands off of this one post about me blasting Madden for having the Miami Dolphins ranked as the fourth best team in the NFL, having the Bills ranked 12th, having the Jets ranked in the top 10 above Buffalo, having the Washington Commanders ranked 30 on this list. I saw this list going all around the internet today, and apparently...
Let's play the video. I didn't realize you made a video about this.
Okay, I'll play it. Well, can you pull it up? It's on my Twitter. You know the audio never plays.
I'm gonna cue it up. Just give me a second here. I didn't realize you made a video. I just saw your tweet earlier, but I didn't think you made a video about it. You're all over. Listen, if you've been watching me for long enough, you know that I'm nothing but hot takes. I come on here and I'm just dying to get you people riled up so that you can go on my Twitter and fill up my bank account. That you can just pump my bank account with pennies, so that this time next year I can cash out my $20 check on Twitter. Oh, buddy, they say, yo, there goes industry plant bot again.
Yes, you're damn right. I keep getting called a plant, by the way. People think that I'm an agent of Brandon Beane trying to get James Cook not paid or whatever.
Bro,
I'm a guy, man. I am a guy. I am a Rochester guy just trying to live a life, man.
Yeah. We don't believe you. You're industry plant. I'm still trying to figure you out, bro. I'm still trying to figure out. Let me cue this up real quick for the people. So, folks, this is my man Z-Bot here. Live and direct.
Started from the beginning.
Yeah. Well, dude, let me just see if I can zoom it in a little bit so people can see your cute little face.
Thank you.
It doesn't want to let me zoom in. All right. You guys can see everything. All right. Let's hear my man Z-Bot get cooked.
Okay, so whoever's in charge of the Madden team ratings needs to be investigated.
So this is what I love about videos that start like this. When people start with when they start doing this,
oh yeah,
you know Z-Bot's about to get
in my
in.
zone.
So.
I'm in my zone.
Let's go.
The Madden 26 early beta team rankings.
Hold on, pause it.
Now, apparently these aren't official.
All right. So I preface this. Start it over, because I prefaced right at the beginning to everybody that is just on my ass. Instagrams. I got the amount of people that are saying, a grown man playing a video game, how sad. I mean, and the people are saying it's a video game, bro. Who gives a damn? You're on Twitter in my mentions, okay? Like who gives a damn about anything? At the end of the day, does anybody really care about anything? Are we not allowed to enjoy a video game? Are we not allowed to enjoy an NFL football game? What are we allowed to enjoy anymore?
I'm forever going to be a gamer. Ever. I'm not stopping. Proceed.
I'm not even a gamer, but when I see the New York Jets ranked above the Buffalo Bills in any capacity, you're going to get me fired up. I'm sorry. The New York Jets haven't made the playoffs in 15 years. So what I preface at the beginning of this video is that I don't really care if it's a beta ranking or not. I don't care if you're sitting at the pub with your buddy listing off your top 32 teams. If you have in any capacity this list as your list, I don't care how it comes about, then is it not worthy of scrutiny? The Commanders are the 30th team on this list. They have the Niners as the second, but I don't know. People are telling me that I got absolutely centelled on this thing because it's not real. I've been seeing it all day long. How is it not real?
NBA Centel, you got you. All right. Well, listen,
sorry. Let's let it run.
Without further ado, let's play this thing and let my man Bot. Listen, Bot's even got the mic on his shirt. Oh, he ready to go.
Okay, so whoever's in charge of the Madden team ratings needs to be investigated. The Madden 26 early beta team rankings just came out. Now, apparently these aren't official. They may not be the official rankings in the game. This is based on the beta version of the game that came out. I don't care if it's official, if it's a beta version, whatever. If this is legit and if this was allowed to see the light of day, then that rankings team needs a full investigation.
Now, you made it very clear. I don't care if it's beta or not true, but based on what I see here, get the FBI on this. This needs to be investigated. I'm with you. So far, I'm invested. Let me keep going.
Kick the door.
Take your eyes to the top of the left screen here. Miami, the Miami Dolphins, fourth in the NFL based on the Madden 26 beta rankings. And as you can see, you look all the way down on the left side, the Bills. Yes, sir, the Bills. AFC Championship appearance last year, been one of the winningest franchises in the league the last half decade. They're ranked 12th. Guess what Josh Allen's record is against the Miami Dolphins? 13-2. 13-2. Miami Dolphins somehow fourth best team on this list. And while we're talking about the AFC East, you might notice that the New York Jets ranked above the Buffalo Bills. The New York Jets ranked above the Bills, the Rams, the Texans, the Commanders. Is this not the same team that hasn't made the playoffs since 2010? San Francisco, second best team in the league. In fact, tied for the first best team in the league. Didn't make the playoffs last year. Aging. Yeah, they have an easy schedule this upcoming year. 92 overall. What are we doing? The Dallas Cowboys, fifth best team in the league. They must have Cincinnati's offense at 110 to offset what its defense is, to have them at 87. Cleveland, is Shadur Sanders a 99 overall in the game? I mean, how do we have the Cleveland Browns, folks, ahead of the best team in the league by a considerable margin, the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, ninth best based on, I can't even take it anymore. This is as absurd of a list as I have seen in some time. Let's hope that they're not the official rankings when the game actually comes out. But if these beta rankings are real, then, oh boy.
Let's go. Oh boy. All right. So look at Bot. So you're absolutely correct. there is no business for Miami or the Jets to even sniffing. This list was made to piss people off. This list was made to get guys like yourself. They put their little cute little mic on and start pointing at the screen and just getting dirty, get in there. I don't blame you, because getting the Browns up there,
come on,
the Jets, the Dolphins. What? Are you kidding me? I saw that. I was like, no, this can't be real. The Bengals, the freaking Cowboys at 88. Where? What? How? First of all,
this is what I'm saying. How do you even arrive to those results? I don't care if you're letting the computer make them or you're just doing them randomly. How do you allow it? How does it even happen?
Yeah, I can see why you want to fight someone. I can see why you want to fight someone with that.
And I can't believe the backlash here. I would have thought everybody would have unanimously said, yeah, this is insane.
Hold on. Are they getting on your ass?
On my buns.
You got 61 comments on that? Usually 61? You're pushing 100 comments, bro. Yeah.
Congrats. You fell for the marketing trap. Way to go. Where are we? It's always a Bills fan whining for respect. I guess when you never got the chance to experience a Super Bowl, you cherish the small victories. I do. That's well established.
Yeah, they could be your ass for real.
Yeah. Where else are we?
No.
It's a game.
Let me put them on screen.
Here we go.
We gotta see these comments. Come on, let me see if I could.
Bro, it's a game. You are upset that your virtual team is ranked lower than other virtual teams. Go outside. Get some fresh air.
Bills fans claimed they wouldn't win more than 5 games without Allen, but now cry that their roster is rated high enough in a video game. Golly, this guy, here comes Bot's response. I guess they're weighing QB on the same scale as every other player. I'm more offended about the Cowboys being higher than the Bills than anything else. Utterly diabolical. Let me see. I want to see somebody cook your ass. Who's cooking you real good?
Holy crap, man. It's a video game. Get over it. It's make-believe. Like, isn't it rich that just, like we're on Twitter, like the dumb things you watch on a daily basis. And it's like, I play Madden like a couple times a year. I'm assuming people think they're watching this like, oh, this guy, he's a competitive player. I mean, I'll boot it up before a game to get amped or whatever. But I mean, the amount of shilling being done here on behalf of EA is incredible to me. Like the bootlicking here is just out of control.
Buddy, they got you. They'll plant Z-Bot. Yo, they watering your ass, bro. They're all over you, man. Golly, Miami's the ultimate Madden team. They have athletes all over the place. If you ever made a player in Madden, you would know good athletes will always have good overalls. Man, shut your ass up, Jordan Cole.
My man, look at my man Race here. Look what he has to say.
Bro, it's a game. You're upset that your virtual team is ranked lower than other virtual teams. Go outside, dickhead. Get some Russia. Listen, I added the dickhead part because I felt that was apropos. It's always a Bills fan whining for respect. I guess when you never got the chance to experience a Super Bowl, you cherish the small victories. Woo! Charles City got your ass.
Got my ass.
Wow. And here I thought I'd be coming back to the game since 2017. Not if they're doing us dirty like that. This is actually funny. This ain't real life. Go Bills.
My man Chandler's my favorite here. Get that engagement, bruh.
Wow. They aren't right every year till the game comes out. It's beta. Yeah, beta male. I'm guessing they use almost the same roster from the year before and change it later. It happens every year. But get that engagement, big fella. I'm surprised you didn't reply to this guy. I really wanted you to get into it with him.
No, this has been happening while we've been on here.
Wow. The ratings for the Madden 26 beta are just the day one ratings from the Madden 25 release.
See, I didn't know that. So I just, you know what? I need to just not do. I need to just shut my fat mouth is what I need to do.
You got to keep doing the content because you need the engagement. Don't stop.
You're right. I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't even be able to.
Don't stop, baby. Keep getting it.
If I don't get that Twitter check, I'm lucky I can put gas in my car. So
Dolphins rating literally doesn't even add up. Can't beat a team that's over 500 to save their life. I hear a lot of people.
You know what though? Even if this was based on last year's rankings, on what planet? Okay, even if it was based on last year's ratings, does that excuse the fact that Miami's at an 89 and that the Browns are at an 87 and that The Rams are on the second half of this list at an 82. Like, I just was shocked by the defending of EA here. I was stunned.
Well,
I thought everybody was sick of them.
Harold Toomey let you have it too, man.
What'd Harold say?
Harold's like, it's a game. Who
I know.
really takes this garbage seriously? Come on, man.
You know what kills me about people like that is I've never once commented that before, because I've always thought if I comment that, what I'm doing is even worse than what I'm accusing the other person of doing. I'm sitting online arguing with someone I've never met before, doesn't even follow me, telling me who cares, while you're in the mentions caring enough to say you don't care. There's another who cares. That's always killed me. I've never gone to the comment and just said, who cares?
Yeah, just to say that. Like, what's that? Hey, you got the info wrong, player. This is the Bills beta rating. All right, big fella. Hey, player. Oh, look at this comment over here. Get this douchebag off screen. What an idiot. That stupid bent brim bot. Where is he from? Rochester?
Retweet that one. I'm going to make that my Twitter banner.
Retweet that one.
I've gotten some crazy comments in my day. Those weren't bad, like, at all. I was just shocked by the, like, I've been seeing those ratings all day long. And besides the point, once again, and I prefaced this at the beginning of the video, even if it was based on anything like other factors, how are the Bills the 12th best team in the NFL in any capacity at all?
I'll tell you, man. Beta man bot. That's what I would call you, man. Beta bot. Beta bot falls for beta Madden ratings. That's one for your money. My man Walter says, yo, let's entertain this for a second. The scenario that you are making money for your content, doesn't that mean you're doing something productive with your time while they're just reacting? The dissonance. Ooh, I love Walter.
Well, while I appreciate you backing me up on this, if you were to factor in the amount of hours dedicated to the amount of dollars made, I think it would probably come out to about 2 cents an hour. I would be working for wages that would seem appalling back in the Stone Age. So while I appreciate it, I can't argue how productive it is. You know?
Well, you know what? You get comments like this. This is the one that gets me. Comments like this where really people take it seriously. You got this guy. You got Johnny Zins over here says, your fans did this to themselves. Kept using Allen as has no help. As
Ravens fans love that.
And now everyone else agrees with you and y'all are upset. Crying emoji, crying emoji, crying emoji. Golly. Woo! Gotta love it. Whatever comes in and says, yo, how the F does the division round winner get 82? Yo, you got people actually really upset about this, though. For real.
I know.
Grown adults still playing Madden are sad as F. Game started to suck in 05 when Dante Culpepper was on the front. Buddy, your commentary, irrelevant.
Ryan's the gatekeeper of Madden, apparently.
You haven't won jack in the last 5 years. Hate to break it to you. Maybe you should be on the Madden ranking team, doofus. Wow. This
is the best part about these comments is half of them are people just grilling me for being an idiot, falling for fake rankings. The other people are like, the Bills just suck.
The Bills like, holy crap, man. It's video game, dude. Get over it. It's make believe. All right, Dale.
That one at the bottom of the screen is just wild. That's the first time seeing that one.
Are we talking about Jeff Wood or are we talking about John?
We're talking about Jeff Wood.
Jeff Wood, he never noticed when Josh Allen loses his face like it went. Wow.
I don't even know what that means.
What does that mean, Jeff Wood? Bro, even this is due to individual player rankings. How the F is everyone on Miami Dolphins? Yeah, who cares? I just want to see the ones that are just really getting on bot. Man, I want them to really get on your ass, man. I don't know if you all recognize this, but the overalls are from last year. Yeah, okay, they're Golden Gate.
They're getting me on Instagram, too, because Bobby put it on the BF story.
Oh, Instagram can be nasty. I think Twitter's nasty.
Dude, Instagram is a whole different world. Well, and I think I've entered into the dark side over there because I'm getting cooked over there, too.
Let's head over to Instagram.
I haven't checked TikTok. I'm probably getting cooked over there, too.
Let's head over to the old Gram here. Let's see. Oh, let's get the Buffalo Fanatics in there.
By the way, I appreciate everybody in the comments. Look, I'm used to the comments. I've been doing this for years, so I'm used to dealing with a bunch of numbskulls online.
He's got it in the stories?
I think so. But what's killing me about this one is I just don't understand how anybody could defend it, whether or not it was the beta rankings and they're not official or they're based on other factors or whatever. In what planet are the Bills 12th, the Dolphins 4th? Like, even if it was based on last year's rankings, did anybody go into last year saying, oh, I'd be shocked if Miami finished outside of the top 5? No.
Well, listen, man, you did your job. You got the engagement.
Here's what I hope happens, though. I hope that the game comes out and it's the exact same rankings as those rankings. I'm begging for that. That would be hilarious.
Well, listen, you got what you wanted. You wanted the engagement. You got it. Okay? You got it. You did it. You won the internet today.
Listen, if I had like 5 million followers and every post was getting like 10 million likes, then yeah, I would get it. People would be easy to understand that I'm probably banking on this. But it's like, come on.
Breaking news, beta bot falls for beta Madden rankings.
It's rare because I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to say anything here because of the amount of stuff that goes online that's not right or not real. But like Yahoo Sports published an article about those ratings today. Like, I was under the impression that it was legitimate. Once again, I understand that the ratings are subject to change, but even if they do change, how in the world was that the list that was developed in any capacity at all?
Yo, I'll tell you right now, Walter's giving you some love right now. The fact that people are choosing to attack you personally and not your logic tells me you're onto something with your point. You're onto something.
I was like, you know what? I'm going to let Madden know that I'm onto him. And it might wound up being the opposite.
Well, I don't know what a Wonderwall is.
Come on. It's Oasis's smash hit. Reference to my t-shirt. Appreciate it, GP.
What's a Wonderwall? What is that?
You don't know Wonderwall by Oasis?
Rico, you're my Wonderwall? What the heck is that?
You don't know the song Wonderwall by Oasis?
How does it go? Sing me one line.
Said maybe you're gonna be the one that saves me.
Oh.
And after all,
let's go. Keep going. Come on.
You're my Wonderwall. Yeah. It's like one of the biggest hits of the 90s.
Well, I guess I'm a Wonderwall, but what the heck is a Wonderwall?
Oh, who the hell knows? Who the hell knows?
Okay, well, there you go. Well,
but I think it's a good thing.
I'll be a Wonderwall. Watch it be something completely off base, and I'm sitting here. Yeah, I'm a Wonderwall.
Anyway, though,
listen, I'll tell you this though. I didn't buy Madden last year. I buy Madden every single year. The last year I bought it was last year was it Josh Allen on the cover last year or was it the year before?
Year before last year was CMC.
Last year was CMC? Was it? Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Anyway, I bought Madden with Josh on the cover because it's Josh. I didn't buy last year's. I'm actually excited for Madden this year.
I am too.
I am. I'm ready. I'm ready to play Madden. I'm ready to get on sticks, PS5. And here's another thing I'm pissed off about. They got us. They duped us with the PS5 when really the PS6 is what they really want to get you on.
I don't understand how they're at all ready to release a PS6. I feel like we haven't even touched down on the PS5 era yet. I don't know. Like, I don't know how you feel, but this is
to go into trying to get the PS6.
This is the first Madden that's come out exclusively for PS5 and not previous gen compatible. So how the hell are we already onto the PS6 era here? It's
crazy. I'm not very pleased about it. I feel
I'm not going to get one. There's no way it's any better.
I feel like we just got the freaking thing. Golly.
But I will tell you, though, they've done some things in this new Madden that I'm excited about that I've been asking for a while. Like, apparently there's a halftime show and Scott Hansen hosts it, which is sick. Like, there's varying scoreboards and broadcast packages for the different primetime games, Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night, which I've been asking for forever. And apparently the gameplay is more fun from everything I've read. So this is the last year that Madden holds the exclusive license to produce NFL simulation games. So I think this is why it's probably going to be better than it's been in years past, because if it doesn't sell well, then the NFL will probably open that license up to other companies, and EA doesn't want that. But I mean, I buy it every year. I do.
I'm not happy. I'll tell you what I am happy about. It's being called someone's Wonderwall. I just looked it up.
Be.
It's if you've been called a Wonderwall, it's top tier compliment disguised in the 90s Britpop poetry. If someone calls you their Wonderwall, they're essentially saying you're the person who gets them through the tough stuff. Their emotional anchor, their bright spot when the world gets a little overwhelming. It's romantic, it's nostalgic, and a little dramatic in the best way. So if I'm your Wonderwall, don't let me crumble. Don't let me crumble. Let me be that wall for you, bro. GP.
I like that.
GP, are you with me?
Another new comment rolled in, by the way. People think that I'm actually like requesting that the FBI go and knock on the door of EA Sports. This guy comments.
You sound very convincing.
I know. This guy goes, serious question, though. Hi, Caroline.
Caroline. There she is.
The guy goes, serious question, though. Investigated by who? This is not worth getting upset over. Dude, it's just a quick TikTok, man. You know? Caroline was out. I was bored. Whatever. We spent enough time on this.
Yo, listen.
It went off on Twitter, and I'm getting cooked. Yeah.
Did you tell her that you're a beta? You're a beta male?
She told me I got to start making TikToks that are more conversational. Usually I just chop up the podcast and put it on TikTok, which is fine. I like to do that. But she said I needed to make ones that are more like that, where you're just kind of talking to the camera. So you're
gonna rival Dan Mitchell. Dan's all about that.
I know. And I don't know. I guess I might as well do it, because why not? And I try it once, and that's gone over well.
You know what? I might try to get in there. I'm not really a TikTok guy to do that, but like I feel like that might be up my alley. Be like, yo, do you want this crap? And just get going. We'll see.
Well, as you know, Rico, it's all about the engagement.
Take a piece of the pie from Dan Mitchell. That's what we need to do. Hey,
Dan, remember when I bought you that brand new car last year from the Twitter check I cashed? Remember that? That was great. We bought a McLaren off the Twitter check.
There you go.
Yeah,
off that Twitter check.
It was light work, you know. Oh, all right, Rico. What do you say? 12-17.
I say we good, bro.
I say we good
I'm ready
too.
for Madden. I'm excited for Madden. Guys, I'm gonna just tell you right now, man. Bear with us 6 weeks.
Oh, please do.
It's gonna be a long one.
It's gonna get a lot better than me bitching about TikTok. I can promise you that much.
Yeah. Just stop acting like a beta and we'll be all right, bro. That's all I'm gonna say.
Beta Bent Brim Bot.
Beta Brett Bimbot. That's right. Call you Beta Bimbo Bot. Laura says she sends her love to Caroline.
Laura sends her love, Caroline.
Hi, Laura.
There you have it. Well, listen, folks. We are out of here. For those that will be tuning in for the next 6 weeks, brace for a great time. And for those that we will be meeting week 3, Thursday night football, brace for an even better time. You know what I mean? It's gonna be good times.
Bear with us. We're a month and 2 days away from training camp, and then we're about 2 weeks from that, from Hard Knocks.
Yep.
Then preseason, and then
you might have to start streaming Madden Live again, bro. Live Madden stream.
I suck at Madden. No one would want to watch me play Madden. I barely want to watch me play Madden.
I think they probably want to watch you suck.
Yeah, they want to keep cooking me.
There you go.
Keep cooking me. Maybe I'll make a video where I double down and I say, listen, I found out that these rankings, let me tell you something. These are 100% legitimate, and I'm tripling down.
And just say I just got off the phone with Chad Ochocinco. He says he's right. Josh Allen's ranked 79.
Oh, that's right. I forgot Chad is like the rankings guy.
Yeah, he's a ranking guy. I'll tell you right now. And I think my man Cam Newton had a problem with that, because Cam Newton is actually really good at Madden.
Oh,
really good. He nice like that. And he goes, Chad's a FIFA guy. Why is he the one doing Madden rankings? Man, F that. You want a Madden ranker? You come see me. Anyway, that's a whole nother ball game. All right, folks, listen. 2.5 hours. Golly, almost 3 hours doing this, man.
3 hours almost. Crazy.
Didn't even feel that way. That coffee certainly helped, because I was dragging ass, and then we came through and handled business. Folks, if you guys enjoyed this show, do us a favor. Smash that like for my man Beta Man Bot. And we will go from there. And then you smash the like for your boy. And then we will see you back again next week, like we always do. I'm going to tell you right now, trying to go live twice a week is going to be tough. So we might just be doing a once a week, have a culmination of, news, and then we break it for you guys on Friday, and we go from there. So those Tuesday pods might not be, but you can still catch your boy on the Bleacher Report. I still do my thing out there, and we do our thing, bro. Other than that, folks, have yourself a great weekend.
And hey, by the way, don't worry, because we got 6 streams a week coming your way during the season. So just hold on with us for a little longer. It's the dog days of American sports, but we will prevail, folks. I promise you. And we love each and every one of you and appreciate you hanging out tonight.
No doubt. Pacers, OKC, who you got?
I think OKC takes it, but I'd like to see Indiana win it.
Interesting. So you're hedging your bets again. Love it.
Yeah,
love it.
I'd like to see Indiana win. I'm always rooting for the small town, So
aren't they both small towns?
Yeah, I guess, but SGA won the MVP, and yeah, I guess you're right. I guess there really is no loser here. Indiana just feels. I always look for the team that seems most similar to Buffalo, and then I kind of root for them based on that.
Yeah, I like it. I kind of like it. Walter says he wants the Pacers to win. I'm with OKC. I just want SGA to win it, have his championship. But I like Indiana. Indiana is. I feel like it's for Reggie Miller and the boys. You know what I mean? Reggie had his moments and just. Couldn't do it. You know what it is. Anyway,
I do. Yep. Well over 1,100 rocking with us on a Friday night for nearly 3 hours. We appreciate each and every one of you. We'll see you again next week. In the meantime, enjoy your weekend. Much love as always. And go Bills. Thank you, Carol.
Bills, baby. Peace.